All right. Well, welcome to our 73rd weekly webcast. Sorry for the slow start there. The older I get, the better I was. If this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. If you've been with us before, welcome back. And so the way the call works is I've got these foot pedals set up here. I'm so sorry I messed this up. I'm experimenting with something new. So let's go waterfalls in the background. The way the call works is I answer every single question you have for the next 3 hours. You can ask me business questions, personal questions, career questions. Ask me. Welcome to our 73rd weekly webcast. And I got to mute that. Hold on. Gosh, I tell you, after 73 weeks, you think I'd get this better, eh? So anyway, ask me any questions you want. You can ask me business questions, career questions, anything you want. And the call ends actually at 11 a.m. And for those of you that are in my MBA degree program, after the MBA student office hours ends later on today, we'll start doing the one-on-one meetings using Zoom. All right. So without further ado, let's begin. And I'm going to stop playing around with this one more time. That's the one I want. Okay, great. Good morning. All right. Wow. First questions came in like 6 hours ago. Octavian is saying, "Hi, Chris. Really hope you'll get a chance to give me a live feedback on our pitch deck, which I share with you via LinkedIn, and you have my approval to share it live on the webcast." Okay, great. Yeah, great. Give me a couple of minutes to get through questions, and I'll do that. Okay, thank you. Okay, Julian. Hey, Julian, how are you? Julian is Bulgarian from is living in Germany now, right? Julian saying, "Hi, Chris, and good morning from Germany." Good morning to you too, buddy. What is the best way to buy gold nowadays? To physically buy it or to buy gold shares? Thank you. Yeah. So I actually think that I think it makes more sense to actually buy GLD. That's the ticker for gold. And the reason I say that, and give me 1 second here, guys. I'm so sorry for the slow start today. We've got something insane going on behind these curtains that I want to share with you guys. So I recommend buying the GLD instead, and I'm gonna ditch this, and you guys will see how much of an idiot I am. So hold on 1 second. Thank you. Yeah. Here we go. All right. I was setting up late last night for a bunch of finance and accounting lessons I'm recording for my MBA students, and anyway, that's the backdrop there. But when you buy when you look to buy gold, don't ever buy it from a store because I really do believe that a lot of people get ripped off. You don't know if they're watering it down or whatnot, or melting it with impure elements in it. And so what I think makes most sense is to always buy what's called the GLD ticker. And let me go there with you. No more green screen today, I promise. So what you should do is, buy the ticker GLD, which is it's actually an ETF. And Yahoo Finance does not work for some reason. But if you just type in ETF GLD, it's a ticker, right? So you'll buy this. This is gold. This is an ETF, exchange traded fund for gold. It's very, very liquid. It trades a ridiculous amount of millions of dollars every day. And also there's only like a 0.5 or 0.4% fee annually on it, which is very, very low. Most mutual funds charge much, much higher. So instead of actually buying, finally Yahoo came up. Thank you, Yahoo. Instead of actually buying gold bars itself, here's where you want to buy it. Okay, you want to type in GLD. There we go. And whenever you research stocks using Yahoo Finance, which is amazing, I don't recommend you ever buy Bloomberg or pay for any software because it's all free right here. What you do is you go over here to Profile, and you can learn more about it. And you can also find out the expense fee, which is 0.4%. Which is really, really low. It's amazing. So that's what I recommend doing. And some people, what they do is they buy gold from really shady places, and then they put them in their bank vaults, safety deposit box, and they put it there for a couple of years till gold appreciates. And then they take it out and they try to sell it for cash so they don't pay taxes. The problem with that is a lot of times when they end up selling it, they find out that they actually did not buy a 100% real gold. So buy the GLD instead, if you can, please. All right. Next up is Carlos, who's saying, hi, Chris. Ann. I feel like I'm in need of a change in location and industry, as where I work now is all about productivity and sprinting through applications when my brain really isn't wired that way. Okay. I feel like I'm constantly working on my weaknesses and never on my strengths. I really want to help people understand and feel like I'm a good listener and I really understand people, but I don't know how to. I don't know how to apply this to the world of business that only cares about the bottom line. So please give any and all advice to someone who is struggling to find their strengths and passions, how to apply them to the business world. Thank you for everything you do for so many. My pleasure, Carlos, and thank you. And welcome back. And you had a bunch of great questions last week as well, I remember. So maybe you're just not passionate about the job that you're doing right now. And I kind of discern that, obviously, because you mentioned you're kind of interested in a change of industry as it feels like work now. You want to get up every day, and like Confucius said, if you do what you enjoy every day, you'll never have a job for the rest of your life. And I certainly butchered that saying, sorry. But what I recommend doing is this. I recommend thinking to yourself, if you were given a month off right now from work, and you weren't allowed to work, you weren't allowed to go to school, you were not allowed to travel, what would you do with your time? And that might help you from a soul-searching perspective, understand what you're truly passionate about in life. And another way to think about it is, who is a rock star to you in business? Is it Sir Richard Branson? Is it Bill Gates? Is it the late great Steve Jobs? Is it Oprah? Whoever it is, what I want you to do is I want you to be a voracious reader of their biographies and autobiographies if they exist. And listen to them on audible.com on the way to work. I never get comp for ever mentioning that company, please, or any companies for that matter. But listen to it on the way to work. And that will help to fire you up and help you to kind of find your passion and find out what it is you were put on this earth to do. Mark Twain had this great quote. He said, the two most important days in your life are, number one, the day you're born, and number two, the day you find out why. So find your why. Find out what you're passionate about. And once you find people that are rock stars to you in that industry that you're passionate in, then I want you to do research on them. Read biographies and whatnot. Because very successful people, what they do is they kind of, they share their blueprints, so to speak. They want to help you. And so they lay all their cards on the table, so to speak. And you can learn a lot from them. And if that didn't answer your question, please let me know. And that goes for anybody. If I don't answer your question properly, or if I skip it, let me know. Just put me on the spot, please. I'm here to humbly help if I can. So you got to find your passion. Find out what you love doing. And another thing is that, and this might be a little bit out there, Carlos, but I'll talk about myself. When I used to work years ago for other people, I worked at Goldman, Accenture, hedge funds, whatever. I was insecure. I really cared what people thought of me. And if you live your life that way, you'll always be someone else's prisoner, like I used to be. And so what I want you to do is this. I'm going to draw a pretend graph here on the back of this mouse here. Moose. It's mouse, by the way, Americans. It's not mouse. It's moose. That's how Canadians say it. That's the right way. But on this graph, what I'm going to show you, and just visualize this, please. On this axis is your age, okay? And on this axis is give a damn, okay? When you're really younger down here, you don't care what people think of you. You have meltdowns in restaurants like my kids did, and I used to do as my dad told me. Then when you're old, you don't have confidence problems either. You just don't give a damn what people think of you. The problem is when you're in your 20s and 30s, you live up here, where you care what people think of you. And I call that the triangle of despair. And you just got to get out of that rut of giving a damn what people think of you. You got to live at this low level here always and just say, I don't care. It's actually therapeutic. Try it with me. I don't care, and then fill in the blank. I don't care that I look like an idiot this morning trying to get this green screen to work. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm trying hard. I don't care that, that my hair is actually all gray and I've been dyeing it for years. And I do a really bad dye job because this front part turns red for some reason. So I have to put more black stuff in it. I don't care what people think of my accent. Although it's not Canadians with the accents. It's Americans and everyone else in the world, okay? Kidding, sort of. I don't care what people think of the fact that I decided not to do venture capital anymore and I just want to teach. I love doing what I'm doing. I don't care. I want you to say that. And of course, I'm not telling you to be, rude or disingenuous, but just tell yourself, I just don't care what people think. The worst thing you can do is to live your life to please somebody else. Maybe your parents want you to be a lawyer, God forbid, or an engineer, but you're not passionate about it. Maybe that's it. Maybe you became an engineer and you're not passionate about it because of social pressures around you. That's what you did. And you just got to kind of push back and say, I'm the boss of me. No one's going to tell me what to do in terms of what you think up here. And I just don't care what people think of me. And I want you to follow your passion. And you only have to be right in business one time. And so if you fail a lot, that's a beautiful thing. And I respect that tremendously. So please fail more or you'll never be incredibly successful. And you won't fail a lot if you care what people think of you, right? You don't give a damn. You're like, oh, well, didn't work out. I'm going on to the next one. That's strike one. I've got 8 million more strikes before I'm out. So that's my humble feedback. And as always, if I didn't answer that question properly, then please let me know. And thank you. All right. Mr. Dupree, how are you, Andrew? Andrew's from Toronto. JR from Texas, Jacob Russner, is saying, hi, Chris, can you tell, I just lost my spot there. I'm so sorry. Can you tell an interesting story about Cuba? Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for asking. So, you've probably been on my webcast before and heard me talk about Cuba. So I got a couple things actually. So when I was in my last year at undergraduate school, in order to try to change my resume so I could come across as more impressive, more interesting, more unique, whatever. I remember those 3 words whenever you make a resume. Every line item should be interesting, unique, or impressive. And so for me, what I wanted to do was I knew that I wanted to, have a career in business and tech. And I thought to myself, it's so competitive getting a job. And so I thought, well, what can I do that no American can do? And this was back in 1994 when, no Americans were allowed to go to Cuba, even if they went through Mexico. It just wasn't allowed back then. So as a Canadian, I went down to Cuba and I went on exchange at the University of Havana Faculty of Economics. And oh my God, what an amazing country. It felt like America in 1960 or 58, whatever, because of the embargo for decades. You weren't allowed to import any good cars. I mean, there were a lot of crappy Russian cars, Ladas, yes, very crappy cars. But there's a lot of beautiful American cars there. And they kept them in perfect shape. Perfect shape. And there's no salt on the roads anyway, so you didn't have to winterize them. And I was amazed at just how awesome that country was. The literacy rate is 96%. Everyone was so incredibly well-spoken, and a lot of people are big time anti-Castro there. And anti-communism. They just won't tell you until they've had some Cuba Libres, like a lot of the people I went to class with, and I'll explain that. So when I was there, for the first 5 weeks or so, nobody opened up to me. In my class, there was 20 Cuban guys and me. I don't know why they set up that way, but it is what it is. And I got to know a lot of them well. And I can tell when someone's being political. Kind of like at work, you can tell when someone's being political. And a lot of the guys I was in class with, when I asked them about Castro and communism, and I'm an extreme capitalist. I am, right? Although I do believe in health insurance and unemployment insurance as well. But they wouldn't tell me how they really felt. And then we got really, really drunk one night. Too many Cuba Libres. And the way they drink rum, by the way, they drink it straight up. And the cigarettes they smoke, and I hope people still don't do this globally, is they would tear off the filter. Just, I guess they got rations, whatever, from Russia back, whatever it was. Doesn't matter. But what happened was I was talking to them one night, and they were asking, what's the news in America now? And I said, oh, there's this terrible incident with this poor guy named Rodney. I think Rodney is his name. Rodney King, I think that's his name. I can't remember. Yeah, and he was beaten up by a bunch of policemen, and it was an awful racist event. And they said to me, "Yeah, we know about that." And I said, "Well, how do you know about that? That's on the news in America." And they said, "Well, it happens here all the time. People get beaten up for no good reason." Disgusting. And I said, "How do you know?" And they said, "Well, come over to our apartment. I'll show you." And so I'll never forget. We were in Havana. I walked right by the Russian embassy, which kind of a scary, 1960s style, crappy Russian architecture. That's right. And we went to one of their apartments, right beside the Russian embassy. And we went upstairs, and it was a tiny apartment with, a bunch of family members there. And most of them were sleeping. But he turned the TV on, my buddy Juan. And he turned it on, and CNN was there. And I was like, oh my God, how do you guys have access to CNN here? Like, how does Castro allow this? It's awesome. Freedom of the press, I love. I thought they're censorship. And they said, watch this. And we went outside through the window, and it was dangerous. I remember this because I wasn't completely sober. And we climbed up onto the roof, on one of those kind of fire escapes. The fire code there is not that great, by the way, but whatever. So we got up to the roof. And on the roof, there was this, it looked like a metal pole with a bunch of pots and pans. And it kind of looked like a satellite dish that was made at home. And I looked on all the roofs around, and they were everywhere, just like that. And my friend Juan pointed, he said, "You see that big white building in the distance there?" Right? And I said, "Yeah, that's the International Hotel." He said, "What's on the top of it?" And I said, "It looks like those are satellite dishes." And so what they did was they actually created these satellite dishes, put them on the roofs to pick up the feed from CNN and other international channels. I'm sure BBC and other great channels as well, Al Jazeera. Actually, I don't know if Al Jazeera existed back then, but whatever. They picked up all that stuff, and that's how they stayed informed. And it kind of hit me at that point where I'm like, I love technology, and trying to make a country stay communist for too long will not work in this day and age. Because of freedom of information that gets beamed down. And now it's all satellite based, a lot of it. And so it's kind of like if you put your hand in a stream and you're trying to stop a bunch of minnows from swimming up or downstream, it's impossible to go through your fingers. And that's what I feel with technology and the internet and just the unbelievable world we live in today. Where political leaders can be kept in check. Because everybody has these things with cameras on them. There's like a billion of these things, or 2 billion now in the world. And one of these things, by the way, just one of these Android handsets or iOS devices, just one has more processing power than every computer in the world used in 1969 to put the first man on the moon. How can you not be excited about the future? And even like what China's doing with communism, people say that Chinese communists are the best capitalists. It's kind of a funny saying, but what China's doing is they're slowly switching from communism to capitalism, very slowly, like a 30-year plan. And I think that's smart. As much as I despise communism, I do think that if you become a capitalist country too quickly, chaos is going to set in. Like there's like Russia, for example, under Putin. So they went from communism to capitalism overnight, and that creates a lot of problems. So I think that China is doing it the right way. And I think China's biggest fear is the ability to feed the population. And I'll explain what that means. And I'll talk about a company I invested in that prints meat. So what happens in China is when somebody moves to a big city, or they exit the middle class, the first thing they do is they buy more beef products. And then the second thing they do is they buy an appliance. And so years ago, I used to invest in a lot of electricity infrastructure companies because every year in China, they build out the equivalent electricity grid infrastructure of the United Kingdom. Every year. And when I was investing a lot in China back in 2007, I met with the CEO of UTX, that's United Technologies. And they make the Otis elevator brand and many other great products. And the CEO told me at that time that in the next 5 years in China, more buildings are going to be built than the cumulative total of every building built in every country since the beginning of time. Wow. What a great investment thesis to go off of. And that's one of the reasons why commodities ran up big time up until 2008. Now, the Chinese government is really, really worried about being able to feed a rising middle class. And so there was a company, actually, I invested in when I worked full-time venture capital. I sold my position. It's called Modern Meadow. And it's an amazing company. And what they do is they grow meat and they grow and print leather in a petri dish. I know it sounds out there. But I do believe that kind of like I remember when I was a kid walking down Yonge Street with my mom. I remember my mom had a fur coat on. That's what people did back then. And it was cold in Canada. And people had buckets of paint, red paint, and they wanted to throw it. I remember on people, my mom or whatever it was, people with fur coats. And I asked my mom, she said, oh, they're PETA. They're animal rights activists. And of course, nobody wears fur coat anymore, real fur, which is a good thing, which is the basis of the Canadian economy with the fur trade hundreds of years ago, whatever, a little off topic. And so I think that what's going to happen is, in 10, 15 years, having leather products in your car or your shoe or your belt, whatever, or even a purse is going to be deemed somewhat not politically correct. And so what happens with Modern Meadow, and again, I'm not an investor in the company anymore. Great company, though, great management team, father and son founder. What happens with them is they grow leather in a petri dish to the extent that they can genetically re-engineer it slightly, the cell structure, and grow it so that the leather is perfect, right? And without blemishes. Because what happens a lot of times is the whole process of dehiding a cow, which is terrible, it's wasteful. And also it's awful for the environment, and the chemicals they use to burn off the fur on the skin. It takes a couple weeks to get that done, and it's terrible for the environment. And so I really respect what they're trying to do at Modern Meadow. Now, Modern Meadow doesn't just make leather. They also make they make meat-based products. They grow meat in a petri dish, and I think that's something that the Chinese government is going to look at very, very closely. Is organic or celluloid or some sort of byproduct way to use science to grow meat and other products. Because what we saw with Tiananmen Square back in 1989 is just the tip of the iceberg. Remember that hero, that guy that stood in front of the tank? I'm getting shivers just thinking about that. That's just the tip of the iceberg, because somehow the foreign media got cameras there, right in the Tiananmen Square back in 89. Now imagine civil unrest with billions of people, or a billion, whatever, less than a billion probably, buying in China, cell phones. And they keep the government in check and whatnot. And if there's little riots here and there because of food shortages, whatever it might be, then watch out. Watch out. And you're kind of seeing a bit of rioting, God bless them, right now in Hong Kong. It's a rough situation. But I think that the Chinese government knows that they really have a food crisis coming soon on their hands. So anyway, a little bit off topic there, but those are my thoughts on China, on communism, on Cuba, etc. But I absolutely love Cuba. I loved it. The warmth of the people there was incredible. And almost all of them, I'm sure, are anti-Castro or were whatever way back. But they just can't say it. They can't say it. And God bless those that have tried to attempt to leave Cuba to get to Florida or just to leave the country entirely. Communism is a disgusting thing. It really is. And the only reason that Cuba lasted so long is because Russians kind of used Cuba during the peak of the Cold War and even after the fact. They basically supplied Cuba with billions and billions of dollars in subsidized sugarcane crops and other products as well. And that was just to keep the Cuban economy alive as a good strategic asset for the Russian government. Remember the Cuban Missile Crisis back in the 60s when we almost went to World War III. And what happened was in the early 90s, post perestroika and glasnost, and when that great Berlin Wall tumbled, what happened was communism failed, and so Russians couldn't subsidize Cuba as much anymore. And I think that the last thing I'll say on this is when it comes to the internet, I really believe that technology, education, and acceptance, TEAT, will change the world quickly. And for more thoughts on that, you can check out my TEDx talk that I did in that topic. But I think that corrupt regimes are going to be overthrown quickly. I think it's going to happen. And, God willing, it happens in Iran as well. And we're starting to see that just a little bit with the protests we just saw in Iran, given that the disgusting event of shooting down that Ukrainian airline. And as a Canadian, it broke my heart going to theglobemail.com and thestar.com, that's the Toronto Star, and just seeing how many Canadians and Iranians died. We're starting to see riots now in Iran, and I hope they're peaceful riots. But I do think at some point, given unfiltered internet access from satellites, that awful dictatorships will be overthrown. And I don't think it's going to take America or other countries to send troops overseas to fight wars we can't win or really understand. I think changes are going to come from within. Think about it this way: it's like think about Malala, who's one of my heroes. Malala was shot by the Taliban, for demanding access to education for women. God bless her. Think about what she has done. I mean, she won a Nobel Prize, and she's got an amazing book, which I have, and she's done a lot of amazing things. Now what I want you to do is I want you to think of 1 million Malalas rising up using YouTube like I'm using right now in every country in the world, in every city in the world. What will happen then is you'll get change from within. Change from within. I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't think, again, that we should send troops overseas to fight wars we can't win or understand. I think society is going to change very quickly from within. And I think it's incumbent upon our space pioneers, Sir Richard Branson, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk, of course. With great power comes great responsibility. And I think our space pioneers have to figure out a way to get unfiltered, free internet access beamed into every town, city in the world. That's how you fight, communism. I believe I'm definitely a capitalist. I'm probably a libertarian, to be honest. But I think that we're going to see the end of government corruption, or at least a lot less government corruption, because of these things and because of the internet in general. And so if any of you work with Jeff Bezos or Sir Richard Branson, who I respect a lot, or Elon Musk, try your best to get to them and tell them that if there's a way that they could beam unfiltered internet access to every country in the world, they'd make the world a much, much better place. And maybe it's not 5G, maybe it's 6, 7, 8, or 9, or 10G, whatever. We can do it. We can do it. But I'm really excited about the future because of technology. And again, I believe that technology, education, and acceptance, TEAT, can and will change and fix every problem in the world in the long run. All right. Asamina, how are you? Asamina is saying, good morning, Chris. I hope you had an amazing week. Likewise, same to you. And Asamina is working on this groundbreaking video game, and she's teaching me to use the Unreal Engine, right? And Asamina works at Ryanair, which is a fantastic discount Irish airline, and she lives in Brussels, right? And she's Greek heritage as well. So great to have you, and I can't wait to play your video game when it's ready. Okay, and then Asmina is saying, I've been feeling the need to move for weeks, but my circle is set on keeping me a false sense of security, meaning the job I have. I get it, yeah. Personally, I feel like I'm trapped between people I don't like. I know the feeling exactly. Then Asmina is saying, I thought of asking for a transfer, but they asked for people to come over from other bases. Sure, they won't transfer me Any advice? P.S. I was considered even quitting and returning to the family farm. Yeah, I'm so sorry you're going through that. It's tough, but you know what though? With frustration comes breakthrough. Nobody has ever reinvented an industry or quit their job at a big cushy corporation without first being very, very frustrated and being mistreated as well. Like I do believe in big business. I do. But if you're feeling frustrated working at a large corporation, you can kind of take matters in your own hand by either networking like crazy to get a better job or starting your own company on the side. You can start a side hustle if you want to, if you're allowed to in the employment contracts, whatever. Have a lawyer read your employment contract. And I recommend networking like crazy. And so I've got this book here. It's right here. It's called Networking to Get a Job or Anything in Life. And you go to my website and get it for free. And I really do believe that your net worth is your network. And relationships are more important than product knowledge. And so what I recommend doing, and this goes to anybody that's frustrated, and God bless you, I'm so sorry you are, what I recommend doing is setting up at least one informational meeting each week using InMails within LinkedIn. Read that book for more details. And you can also take my course on Udemy called the Complete Job Course. And anybody that signs up today, I'll give you a lifetime money back guarantee. That's how strongly I feel about my methodology. And I'm a humble guy, but not when it comes to helping you get a job. I've transferred many times within companies. I've gotten new jobs. I've reinvented myself. I've helped thousands of others to do the same as well. And I want to help you. So check out that course if you can, please. And also try to network as much as you can. So whatever companies you want to work at, there's no reason you can't get informational meeting with people that work there. And so I know you're in Brussels, but close by in France, you've got Ubisoft, which of course is the great company that makes the Rayman franchise. Not as good as Mario, but good. And they make Tom Clancy as well. So see if you can get maybe an internship there, or see if you can just get an informational meeting there, and leverage LinkedIn as much as you can to get informational meetings with people that work in the video game sector. Maybe go to Scandinavia and work for Mojang, Microsoft subsidiary, or work for Microsoft, and use that kind of as your stepping stone. Because I know that you're incredibly passionate about video games. So you should make that your full-time gig if you can. So network like crazy. Do at least, if you do what I'm about to tell you right now, I guarantee you'll get a job in the video game sector or any sector. Ready? Set up one informational meeting every single week until year end. And I guarantee you will get that job. You will. And what I used to tell my students when I used to teach at San Francisco State during the evenings, love those students, better than any other school in the Bay Area by a mile. But what I used to tell my students was on the first day of class, it was 10 weeks usually, I said, if I told you that over the next 10 weeks, if you set up informational meetings once per week, so 10 meetings, if I told you if you did that, you would get the job of your dreams, would you do it? And every hand went up. All 70 of my students, their hands went up. Then, right before the final exam, I said, how many did 10 meetings? No hands go up. How many did 9? No hands go up. How many did 8? Maybe 1 or 2 hands go up. And the students that lifted their hands were never the ones with the top grades, but they were always the ones that got the best job. Relationships are more important than product knowledge. Put yourself out there. Perfect your LinkedIn profile. Take my complete job course. It'll help with that. Or join me. And I think you mentioned you're joining us for my next MBA degree program, which starts late this year. But you got to network like crazy. One informational meeting per week, Asamina, and everybody else on this call is listening. And I guarantee success. I promise you. And your homework today is just to do one simple 1-minute exercise, which is going to change your life. And that exercise is this. Go to YouTube and do a search on 3 words. Steve Jobs Ask. It's about a minute long. Watch that video, and that will change your life. Please network aggressively. Thank you. Oh, one thing. Speaking of books. So whenever my students write a book, I put it on my shelf, and I got a bunch of others somewhere else too. And before I show you these, I'm really proud and happy for my students for doing this. I can't wait to show you them. And thank you for mentioning the forwards and all that good stuff you guys mentioned. Thank you in the book. Anybody can write a book. And the way to do it is you can use my template. Imagine going to a meeting and saying, here's a book I wrote, or an interview. It would make you look amazing. The way to get the template for free, write book. You go to harounventures.com and then all lowercase, all one word, write book. Okay. And then what you do is you click here and you download a template, which a couple of my students use to write their books, which I'll show you in a second. And all you have to know how to use is Microsoft Word and a browser, and that's it. And on one page, I give you all the instructions to get it on Amazon Paper, Amazon Kindle, and Audible. That's ACX. I even tell you where to go to pay $5 to get a logo made. And the entire template is here. And then dedicate it to your parents if you can. That's a tearjerker, that little one there. But I include all this stuff, and all you do, it's all set up for you, is you just write all the chapters, and then you go to the table of contents, right click, and select update. It's all here for you. It's all here. Okay. It gives me tremendous pride to see my students actually doing this as well. So I want to show you two. And Yolanda, this is awesome. This is awesome. Congratulations on this book. Yolanda Baker wrote a book called The Smart Guide to Healthcare Savings. Good thing I don't have my green screen on. I wouldn't be able to see it. But this is fantastic. And thank you very much for mentioning me, along with many other people as well, in the dedication. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. But this is the exact same format for that template, the 6x9, that I just showed you. And it's how I've written my books too. Another book that was written, and I profiled this one before, is another amazing MBA student of mine. Okay. And this is Eric's book from Belgium. And I have 157 students in my MBA degree program. And graduation is going to be, I think, early December. And I know a lot of you are going to be flying in for graduation ceremony. It's going to be great. It'll be a lot of fun. But I want everybody in my class, all of my MBA students, and for those of you that requested one-on-ones, it starts this afternoon at 1:30. But for all my MBA students, I want you to all write a book, please. Please, please, please. And it'll be part of an elective as well in the second half. I'll teach you more details on that. But I want my bookshelf to be full of those. Now, I want to profile, and Yolanda, great job. Great job. It's awesome. And I'm going to bring this up again in the MBA class too, in case you're not here. This is a big deal. This book is called Generation Optimism, creating the next generation of doers and dreamers. What a great title. I love it. In the bull and the red sense of optimism and strength. Juan David wrote this book, and on the back it says, the Chicago Tribune said, Juan David Campolargo could be described as a Renaissance man, and I put one of my quotes there back from him as well. But Juan's story is amazing. You guys got to get this book too, all these books. Juan is only 16. He's a prolific writer. He's amazing. It's incredible. And he was born in Venezuela. And he went through really, really tough times there. And eventually he left, and he and his mother live in Chicago. This guy he's going to be one of the greats. And I'm just so honored to be holding this book. 16. Amazing. Amazing. So congratulations, Juan. And also congratulations, Yolanda. And again, congratulations, Eric. Yeah. All right. Put these back in my bookshelf. Oh, okay. All right. And Avi Pro is saying hi. He's from Sweden. He's a pilot. You guys both work in the same industry. Asmina and Avi Pro. Cool. And then Mabian is saying, hi, Chris. Hope you're well by God grace. Right back at you, and thank you. A quick question in your Intro to Finance course. How did you work out non-GAAP net income? Plus, it is advisable to use non-GAAP or GAAP. Why constructing a model? Yeah. So for those of you not familiar with accounting and U.S. accounting standards, and by the way, all this stuff you see right here is for my MBA degree students. I had so much fun, guys, making this. You guys are going to love this. But starting on Tuesday, January 21st, we're going to do accounting, and I've basically carved thousands of letters. I know it's crazy, and it's true, into boxes using a word-burning pen. And I'm going to teach you accounting and finance in a completely unique way that you've never been taught before, so that it demystifies it and it's fun. That's right. Imagine finance and accounting being fun. But the question is on GAAP versus non-GAAP. And so in the United States, there's a tax code that says that you have to report taxes in what's called GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting protocols, I think. And what GAAP means is when you're recording your income statement, for example, you're going to list all items, everything, including stuff that's not cash. And I'll show you. Hold on. All right. So the way it works is with an income statement, let's ignore these for now. Okay? With an income statement, we start off with sales. Okay. Sales goes on the very, very top right here. Yeah. Sales goes on the top. You know, a lot of times people will say, what's your top line? Well, top line is sales. Sales is at the top of the income statement. And the bottom line, when people say, what's your bottom line? That's net income, which is on the bottom of the income statement, okay? So sales goes in the top. Then what you do is you're going to account for the cost of all that stuff you just made, okay? It's called cost of goods sold. Then what you'll do is below that, you're going to put sales and marketing. That's an expense, right? You hire salespeople and you pay for marketing stuff to market your products. Then below that, and I'll get to the GAAP versus non-GAAP point in a second, okay? Then below that, you've got G&A, which is general and administrative. And by the way, when you're making your income statement, if you have no idea where something goes, just throw it in the G&A bucket. Okay, and I need one more over here. Research and development, which is right here. Okay, great. Research and development. Then what you do is if you have any interest income, which I have over here, hold on. Yeah, screw it. Okay, if you have interest income or expenses, you'll then add or deduct that. Then what happens is you then deduct depreciation. Okay, and that's key. And then on the very bottom there, just assume that net income is on the very, very bottom there, okay? So what I just showed you here, this is GAAP because it accounts for all expenses, okay? Even if they're not cash-based. Say, what? Well, depreciation basically means this. Let's say I have, I bought a machine. This machine has a useful life of, say, 2 years. Then what I can do is every year I can expense 50% of the cost of this, okay? And that goes into what is called depreciation. And it's a beautiful thing because if you deduct an expense, you depreciate every year, then you're going to pay less taxes, right? Because taxes basically is based on all these expenses, so sales minus all these expenses. So depreciation is an expense, therefore you're going to pay tax on a lower amount. Okay, that's depreciation, and that's GAAP. This is GAAP right here. Okay, now it's not really reflective of how much cash you're going to get in your pocket though, because depreciation is just a funny accounting term, right? So that's GAAP. Non-GAAP is more simplified. Non-GAAP gets rid of depreciation because it's not a tax, it's not a real cash expense. Like every year I'm not paying an additional dollar amount for this. I already bought it ages ago. This here is non-GAAP, okay? And everything you see here is a real expense. Depreciation is not a real expense. Hi, I am not a real expense. So that's the difference between GAAP and non-GAAP. So when you think of GAAP, think of, it's not really a reflection of the increase in cash I'll get in my pocket. When you think of non-GAAP, I want you to think of, oh, okay, it's kind of like it's more intuitive. Cash in, cash out. How much cash can be in my pocket, and we don't account for non-cash items like depreciation. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. And next up is Rams. Hey, Rams. He's saying, my family is moving from Oslo to another city. I've been to Oslo, beautiful city. And in this new city, there is generally less opportunity and life. I'm not keen on the idea. I'm soon going to turn 18 and I want to move out. Yeah. No, thanks for the question. I appreciate that. This is tough. This is tough. Let me talk about career first, then I'll talk about personal life second. So from a career perspective, we've witnessed the death of distance. You don't have to be located in any particular part of the world to start a company. All you need is a browser, internet browser, and a lot of this heart and the willingness to fail a bunch of times. Because every time you fail, you get closer to ultimate success, and you only have to be right in business one time. So the fact that you're moving to a more remote location far away from Oslo, from a career perspective, I don't think it's going to have a massive impact on you because you can start side hustles. You can start companies online. From a personal perspective, you're saying you want to move out. I get it. It's tough. Maybe what you can do is consider going to school in Oslo or somewhere else. It can be university or community college or whatever it might be, or maybe even a programming school if you've always been excited about programming. Or maybe you just end up moving with your family and you learn programming online from great websites like Udemy, learn how to code from courses by Angela Yu or Rob Percival. And you leverage those skills that you've learned from that remote location you're going to market yourself to get a job in a bigger city. So maybe you can move to Oslo once you develop some core coding. Once you understand how to code, that sort of thing. I'm certainly not a coding teacher. I can't even speak coding right now. But what you do is go to Udemy, for example, and take course. And let me show you. Okay? And I don't get compensated, whatever. Udemy is just an algorithm, right? But I do respect a lot of these great teachers here. So let's go here, and let's go to Angela. Angela Yu, she's amazing. Okay, and Angela, talk about overachiever. So Angela is a doctor and decided, I don't want to be a doctor. I want to code and teach. And so she teaches these awesome courses, right? And within like 50 hours, you're going to be an expert, from zero to hero in web development. If you want to learn how to code for iOS, take this course. It's amazing. Anyway, she has all this unbelievable stuff. You want to start a company, raise money from Kickstarter? Take this course. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee as well. It's the best deal on the internet. She's awesome. She's well-spoken. She's funny too. So check that out. And after you take those courses by Angela, then you're going to be much more marketable, and you're going to be able to find a job in a bigger city if that's what you want to do. You got to be passionate about programming though, or at least curious about it. And if you like playing games on this thing, or if you like surfing the web, then you're going to like her courses. So take those courses from Angela. And there's another dude named Rob Percival. They're both from England, which means they speak gooder than us because their accents are cool. Take those courses, and then what you can do is after you retool, you can start applying to jobs with that new skill or new skills that you developed. And those courses are a lot of fun too. All right. And I've got that song by Alice Cooper in my head called 18. You got to listen to that song. It's great. Anyway, it's a good one. And Ted Bell is saying, hey, Chris, just checking in from the Peanut Gallery. Hey, man, how are you? All right. And next up, we got Jose. Hey, Jose. Jose is saying, hi, Chris. Hope you had a great week. Thanks for your response last week. My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. And then Abidekwani is saying, I'm here. How are you? And Jose is saying, how do you personally distribute your investments? Meaning cash, gold, ETF, bonds, cryptos, care to share? Yeah. So I never, and I'll be teaching this in a lot more detail in the MBA degree program. When it comes to diversification, you never want to have more than a couple percent, whatever, of your house or non-apartment net worth in any particular investment. Okay, so I own a lot of stocks, but I don't own any stocks that are more than 5% of my liquid non-house, non-apartments net worth. I keep it, and I don't have more than, say, 10% of my stock portfolio in any particular sector. So I'll have technology stocks, I'll have retail stocks, I'll have cyclical stocks, etc. Cyclical means stocks that are really tied to the economic cycle, like Caterpillar, ticker CAT, or Komatsu in Japan. And so that explains the stock side for me. In terms of bonds, I own a lot of bonds as well. And anytime I have extra cash left over, I'm like, what do I do with it? Which I don't usually, but sometimes I do. What I do is I buy TIPS. TIPS stands for Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. And basically what that is it's a U.S. government bond or treasury you can buy that it has this interest rate, whatever it is, plus whatever inflation is, the bond will go up in price. It'll appreciate. So you're inflation protected, hence the name Treasury Inflation Protected Securities. And that's the lowest risk asset I think you can get. The lowest risk asset is buying a U.S. government bonds. It is what it is. I don't make the rules, but that's what everyone knows out there. And the U.S. dollar is always a flight to quality when the whole world is going to hell in a handbasket. It is what it is. It's all relative. Now, I don't have that much money in cash usually, ever, because I think it's the worst investment you can make. I always like to buy investments. I own a bunch of land as well. Recently bought an apartment building in London, Ontario, where I was born, right by the University of Western. Only because it's it's counter-cyclical to own real estate that students are going to rent because people still go to school during recessions. The best investment you'll ever make, though, is your own house or apartment. I think you mentioned you live in Brooklyn, right? I know that real estate's expensive there. But if you own your own place, then your net worth will literally, it's going to sound out there, literally be $30 million higher in 50 years. And if you want proof on that and how the time value of money works, just go to my YouTube channel and do a search for the number 30 or 31, because I wrote you'll be $31 million richer if you do this. So check that out. So, and my grandfather used to always tell me, God bless him, he used to say, Chrissy, buy land. They're not making it anymore. And so I like to buy stuff that there's a dearth of supply. And you always got to be cognizant of supply of anything you buy. You know, a lot of cryptocurrency investments are loser investments, because there's an unlimited supply of cryptos that can be made for certain cryptocurrencies, unlike Bitcoin, where there will only be 21 million Bitcoins ever made by the year 2140. So there's a dearth of supply. And yes, I do own a couple cryptos. I'll tell you what I own. And I've owned these for years and I'll never sell them. I'm not telling you that to buy or sell these or whatever, but here I go. I own Bitcoin. I own Litecoin. Which is kind of like Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's little brother. So Bitcoin is digital gold. This is digital silver. This is used more for transactions. I also own some Ripple, and the founder of Ripple lives not too far away from me here. It's a financial services-based crypto. It can't fail because all the financial services firms are going to support it. I won't go there. And I own Ether, ETH, which is the cryptocurrency for the Ethereum platform. And I'll talk more about this in the MBA degree program. I know you're registered for it. We'll go into a lot more detail there. Aside from that, I mentioned land. I own commodities as well. I think everybody should own some gold in their portfolio, but wait until it sells off big time. You want to be a contrarian and very, very long-term focused. Always, always, always. Yeah. And so that kind of sums it up for me. I have some other investments. Like down here, this is I like to collect stuff. That's a Ming Dynasty vase from China. I bought it on my honeymoon in 2000 in Beijing, right by Tiananmen Square. So I own some collectibles as well, some comic books, which are better investments than paper currency. Baseball cards, a lot of baseball cards. It's just something I love doing. That basically sums it up. But what I like to do with my kids is I like to teach them the value of money by selling stuff we're not using on eBay. And I explain to them what a depreciating asset is. And so there's this one video game we have, which we don't play anymore, called Horizon's Dawn. Great game. And I was explaining to Dylan, my youngest one, that we bought it for $50 or whatever, $59.99, I think. Every month that goes by, that thing drops by $10. And so if you're not playing it and you leave it lying around for 2 months, you basically flush $20 down the toilet within reason, right? The depreciation on video games is really quick. It's like buying a car. The second you drive it off the lot, it's down 30%. And then it kind of normalizes over time. So that's another way to invest, is to look around yourself in your house and sell stuff that's not that is depreciating, that you don't use, right? And this always blows me away. I'll do this really quickly, but you guys, this is insane. Check this out. So if you go to eBay, and I promise you, most of you, if you're over 30, you have a couple $1,000s of stuff up in your attic or something. So watch this. I don't know what that is. I'm going to say aloud something I'm not reading. So let's search for, I don't know, iPod. Okay. And let's make sure that we just look at ones that have actually sold. Hold on one second. Show only sold items. Okay. And let's go to, I don't know, just price highest first, just for fun. All right. Yes, green means they sold. This is insanity. Okay. You ready? Look at this. A 2 terabyte SSD Apple iPod Classic 7th generation is $1,000. Used. Look at this one. And this means it's sold green. This is true. This is all true. This blows my mind. This one's 1.5 terabytes. It's sold for $800. I promise you guys have a lot of crappy or old electronic stuff, sitting around the house that you could sell. And just think of them all as being depreciating assets. And that's another way to diversify your investment portfolio, is to beef it up by selling depreciating assets in your house, and taking that cash and reinvesting in ETFs or anything else that's liquid. All right. Okay, Mael is saying, do you think there will be a financial crisis soon? If so, how can we prepare? Thanks a lot, from France. Thank you. Hier, j'ai fait le grasse matinée à 12 heures. It's true. I slept until noon. It was the craziest thing. My French is awful. I don't think there's going to be. And I think that if you just tune out the media, and when I say you, I mean all of us, myself included. If you tune out the media, you won't be worried ever. Things are great in the world. They're amazing. There's never been this much opportunity in history. And interest rates are still quite low, which is a great thing. It's a great thing for investors. I don't think there's going to be a massive financial crisis. I think what happened in 2008 was, once in a generation event, kind of like the Great Depression in the 1930s. That was once in a generation. It was before my parents were even born. So I don't think there's going to be any sort of black swan event to push the world into a financial crisis commensurate with or worse than 2008. I don't. I think things are great. In terms of, will there be a recession? Of course. There always is a recession. A business is cyclical. You get, boom, bust, echo, right? Rinse, lather, repeat. And those cycles are usually 10 years long. And don't let anybody ever tell you this time it's different, because it never is. But yeah, we will go into a recession, and I can't wait, because I'm going to back up the truck and buy a lot of stocks. I'll probably sell a lot of my gold and buy stocks. So, and I'm very, very long-term focused. I'm not a tourist when I invest. And Warren Buffett had this great quote. He said, the New York Stock Exchange is the only store in the world where consumers sell stuff when it goes on sale. So if and when we have the next recession, then I want you to back up the truck and just buy investments that 5 or 10 years from now will be companies that are more relevant than they are today. And what I mean by that is, years ago you could have invested in Google and asked yourself a simple question. Will more people be using Google or Yahoo in 5 years? And that would stop you from, buying value traps, companies in secular decline like Yahoo, for example. Yeah, but just always be very, very long-term. And be careful with the media, too. And I know why the media is doing this. The media, basically, they're realizing that the YouTube generation, meaning all of us, or probably people much younger than me, they grew up with this. They grew up watching YouTube. And if you have kids or nieces or nephews, they don't watch television with you on the couch. And if they're on the couch beside you, they're on their iPhone or Android handset anyway, or curled up in their bed, kind of, I don't know, going through TikTok, which is the latest craze now, which is kind of like a replacement for Vine. Why did Vine die in the Vine? I have no idea. Vine was great. But I bring that up because media companies are terrified. They're terrified that you've got a younger generation growing up that doesn't give a damn about CNN or CNBC or these other, BBC, whatever it is, Al Jazeera, Global, whatever. They just don't care. They get their news from YouTube. They enjoy consuming YouTube. And so these media companies are terrified of this, right? The writing's on the wall. These companies are going into secular decline. It's driving me nuts going to CNN.com and I try to watch a video and they try to throw a 30-second ad and then the video is only 3 seconds long and there's no sound, it's just text. They're terrified. And so what the media is doing is, it's not a conspiracy, it's just the truth. What the media is doing is they're basically offering clickbait that's terrifying. That they'll say something like, say you're watching financial television or whatever it is. And they'll say, find out why the world is going to end and in 24 hours bank machines won't work anymore after the commercial break. You just got to tune it out, just control your own environment by selecting your own media that you consume wisely. And if you're going to invest in stocks, don't ever watch the financial media because that will bias you. And you have CEOs who are the best salespeople in the world and mutual fund managers that get on these financial news programs on television. And of course they say positive things about their companies or the companies they invested in. It's not unethical. They disclose it too, but that will bias us. CEOs are the best salespeople in the world. Do not meet with a CEO or watch an interview with a CEO before doing research on a stock, because that will convince you that everything is great. So anyway, just always do your own research and be careful with Yahoo Finance too. As much as I love it because it's free, there's a lot of sponsored stories. Whenever you see something called sponsored stories, I don't want you to read it at all. Move this over here so you guys can see the backdrop there. And by the way, for those of you curious what's going on in the back there, that's a case study we're doing on the Walt Disney Corporation. And I'm teaching assets and liabilities. And that's actually a bond that the Walt Disney Corporation issued in France back in the early 80s to build a Euro Disney. That's how they paid for it. And that's a U.S. government bond from World War II. It's something we're going to be studying with my MBA students next week. And this here is that's the prospectus, the S1 document from Facebook when it went public in 2012. And that's a little piece of the Berlin Wall that's colorful right there. Yeah. All right. It is freezing in here. Give me 1 second. I got this new Mac, and it's really quiet, which is great for webcasts. You can't hear it. But, dude, it gives off just a ton of heat. All right. I Velcro everything under my desk here. Okay. And Jose is saying, what's the best way to recognize your weaknesses? Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, I'm so sorry. What's the best way to recognize your weaknesses and to profoundly analyze them? And should we work on our weaknesses or should we improve our strengths even more? Yeah. So the best way to recognize your weaknesses, I think, is just take my complete job course, because what I do right away, immediately, the second you start it, is I have you analyze and list 10 of your weaknesses, and then I teach you how to turn them all into incredible strengths. So I really do believe that weaknesses are up here for the most part. I think, therefore I am, like the Rodin sculpture. As Henry Ford said, whether or not you think you can do it, you're right. I think it's all up here. Of course, there's other things too. I'm just talking about mental weaknesses, which is what most weaknesses are. And there's a famous quote from Winston Churchill, which I read in the Churchill War Rooms, which you got to go to in London if you guys go there next. But Winston Churchill had this quote. He said, I once met a man who on his deathbed talked about all the worries in his life, none of which came true. So I think a lot of weaknesses and a lot of worry that we have is just based on us being our own worst enemy. You don't have weaknesses. You just tell yourself you do. It's true. It's true. And there's a great book by Malcolm Gladwell from Toronto, where I'm from, called Outliers. And in that book, it's called David and Goliath. He's got another book called Outliers. And in that book, David and Goliath, which rocks, he explains why David always beats Goliath. And basically he talks about a lot of people that were told from a young age that they weren't good enough. There's something wrong with them. And those are the most successful people in the world. You know why? They had a chip on their shoulder. They had to work harder. They weren't lazy, entitled, kind of like the second generation that goes to Harvard that gets lazy. First generation makes the money, second spends it, third has none. And those people that were told there's something different about them or were treated a bit unfairly, for the most part, they run the world. Elon Musk, poor guy, he had the crap kicked out of him in South Africa. A lot of great movie producers or directors were diagnosed with dyslexia, like Steven Spielberg. A lot of great CEOs were diagnosed with that as well, like John Chambers, who's currently chairman emeritus of Cisco, and a great man too, good guy. So it's up here, a lot of it. And in venture capital, a lot of times VC firms love investing in people that something might have happened to them earlier in life that leads them to believe that they're not good enough. And as a result, those are the best people to invest in, because they don't just want to create a company that costs $100,000 to make and sell for $2 million. They want global domination. They want world beaters. They want to reinvent an industry. They want to colonize Mars, as crazy as that sounds from Elon Musk. And it's so funny though, because if I were to tell you I'm going to work on somehow colonizing Mars, you'd think I'm crazy. But what happens is this: those that think differently, that are independent thinkers and don't give a damn what other people think of them, initially they're called crazy. Then they get some success and they're called crazy geniuses. And then they get more success and they're just a genius. Like remember that Albert Einstein picture with his long hair and his tongue sticked out? Nobody looks at that picture and says, oh my God, he's crazy. They look at it and they see genius. So I really do think that perception becomes reality. I think, therefore I am. And speaking of Einstein, he couldn't speak until he was 4. He had awful grades as well. And just remember one thing, and this is your homework. Nobody is smarter than you. And I want you to search for a video on YouTube that's going to change your life. And I want you to search for Steve Jobs, smarter than you. Watch that video. That'll change everything for you. All right. All right. And then Kimmy is saying, hey, Chris, how are you? First time I've seen you actually on the call. Welcome. And I hope you join us again. I can't believe it's week 73. I can't. My God, it's crazy. And yeah, the quality's getting a lot better, as you can see, but I still make mistakes, man. For those of you who've been watching this whole webcast so far, I'm sorry about the first 30 seconds. I really messed up big time there. But I'm a nerd. I'm having fun. I've got great people I work with that are helping me create these awesome things. This here is a green. You know what, dude? We're gonna green screen this, okay? We're going green now. Where do you want to go? Let's go to San Francisco. All right, hold on. 1 second. Let's go to San Francisco. There we go. See? Stick with me, guys. I take you guys everywhere. San Francisco. And that's the beautiful Transamerica Tower right there. And that's Telegraph Hill right there. Right there. Which is, it's shaped like a fire hose. And the woman benefactor, she was a big fan of firemen. It's true. All right. Let's see. What do we got next? Oh, yeah. So Kimmy is saying, today I started your program on Udemy. Thank you. Yeah, and then you wrote, I love it very much. Thank you very much. You're a very good person and open-minded and kind. I love to watch your content, and I discovered you just recently. Thank you. Thank you. And then thank you for that. Appreciate that. I'm humbled to hear that. And Kimmy is saying, can we get in touch after this? I would love to talk with you for 10 minutes. Yeah. The best way is I'm so sorry, but I get so many inbounds. I can't do one-on-ones. It's just too hard. It's too hard. And a lot of times people will send me emails I don't reply to, and I feel terrible, but I can't do it. I can't do it. There's just no time. But if you take and I'm not trying to do some cheesy upsell because I have an MBA degree program, which I'm losing money on, and I'll probably lose money on forever. I don't care. But if you sign up for my MBA degree program, then you can you get one-on-one time. And for those of you in the MBA degree program, you guys all have the Calendly link, and I see you guys have started booking one-on-one time starting this afternoon. Yeah. But ask me here if you want. It's an open forum. And for those of you that want to ask questions and you're worried that maybe, I don't know, your future boss or your current boss, I should say, it might be there on the call. Then what I say is, sign up with a different name in YouTube, okay, and ask the questions that way. Yeah. All right. And thank you for joining us. So I appreciate it. All right. Oh, cool. Thank you for that. Good morning, Rohit. Nice shirt. Nice shirt. Thank you. A little bit different today, huh? A little different. I've got this. I put an undershirt underneath, and I always cut my undershirts because I don't want them to show. I was told that that's a faux pas to show. So, yeah, trying something different today. I don't think I've ever worn a long sleeve shirt like this on a call. All right, and then Melody is Rohit. Remember you asked in the MBA program a couple weeks ago if that mafia guy, the John Gotti of New York, whatever, who is reformed and partner with the government. He does a lot of speeches. You asked me to get him as a guest speaker in our class, and I reached out to him, and he responded, and I forwarded the response to you as well. He wanted money for it. And I'm like, I don't want to take money from them or give money to the mafia, okay? Because once you're in, that's it. You're in. Yeah. So anyway, check out the email I sent you. Can't remember the mafia guy's name, but thanks for asking. All right. Kunal saying, good morning, Chris. Same to you. Melody, how are you, Melody? Melody's a teacher from Atlanta. Melody's saying, I hope you're having a great day today. I am. Thank you. Thank you. I always smile when I see your name there. You're a very happy person. And it was great to meet your son and daughter. I think we did that one that was 4:30 in the afternoon, October 31st. That day, that webcast, and we did that Zoom. Remember, that was 9.5 hours. I didn't get up once. That was my record. But unfortunately, I only do 3 hours now because we have the MBA stuff after. All right. Kunal is saying, does Wall Street deliberately use jargons or terms to confuse people? No, I just think that a lot of it is accounting, right? Like you have all these, you can see some of these here, like depreciation. They take a lot of complex, long things and they shorten it. Like instead of saying cost of goods sold, they'll say COGS. They shorten everything. Like research, general administrative is G&A. That becomes R&D. This becomes S&M. You guys get the idea, right? They just shorten a lot of things. It's actually not that complicated. It's like in finance and accounting, it's easier than you think. But what you got to do is you really have to visualize it. You really do. And you have to, and I got a D in accounting the first time I took it at McGill University because I was memorizing stuff. But if you memorize stuff, you'll never understand it, right? And if you understand it, you'll remember forever. It's kind of like in high school. If you memorize stuff, you get good grades, it works. Life works. You get to university, you memorize stuff, you take tests, you don't do well. You got to understand stuff. And so my problem was, among the many problems I have, is that I was trying to memorize accounting. And so you gotta learn it in a more visual way. And so up here you can see I've got a scale. Okay, and so that's a scale from 1880. It's an antique I bought online on eBay. And I buy a lot of my props for my courses and when I give speeches on eBay, and then you can sell them back. So it's kind of like a 5% rental fee. But if you think about it, like that's a scale. And you think about the word balance sheet. if you think of it like a balanced scale, meaning everything that you have, all your stuff, is either owned by you or a bank, or you and a bank, like a mortgage. If you think of things that way, it's a lot easier to understand. I'll show you an example. All right. I'm going to get one more prop. And I'll get this as well. All right. I'm like a pit bull on a pork chop. As my MBA students know, I will go to battle for you. I'll do whatever it takes to make you successful. Never about the money. All right. So let's put this aside. So for example, a balance sheet. Why is it called a balance sheet? Well, it's called a balance sheet because it basically tracks what you own or what you have and who owns your stuff. Okay. So whoever tells me what character this is, will get a free course of mine. Any course you want, I'll send you a coupon code, whatever it is. It's got to be the first person that gets it, okay? You should be able to get it. All right. So let's say this person here, Ms. Stark, you have to enter the first name too. She bought a house, okay? She bought a house, and this is in her possession. Now, she paid for half of the house herself and the other half with a loan. So everything is owned by a person, a company, an entity, whatever. And so the way to buy a house is if she paid 100% cash, think of this as a scale. They both balance, okay? It's not like this. They balance. Now, let's say she only paid 50% cash for it, right? It doesn't balance. Where'd she get the other money for? Well, the other money came from this cochon here, this pig, which balances it. Okay, this is going to be tough for me to do. I wish I had an extra hand. Damn it. Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man, wish I was him. So this house is owned half by Ms. Stark and half by the bank, the piggy bank. And so it balances. Think of it that way. Everything has to balance. Everything. And the reason a balance sheet exists is because if we didn't have it, we couldn't keep track of what we own or the stuff we have. You know, when people think of accounting and finance, they think of the income statement, meaning how much money am I making? That's great. But how do you account for stuff you have? And you do it with a balance sheet, and it always has to balance, okay? So this $100 house, $50 of which was a loan from the bank, and the other 50 here, trying to move that with one finger, is me. That's me. Pretend that's me, okay? I own 50% of this house. And then eventually, when I pay off all of this, I'm going to own 100% of it. So anyway, that's kind of a quick way of explaining, in a fun way, hopefully, a juvenile way, whatever, sophomoric way. I used to work at Accenture, and my boss in Charlotte, because I played video games, PS1 was out, and he said, "You play video games? You're sophomoric." Yeah. I was like, "Yeah, fuck you." I didn't say that, but I was thinking that. Sorry for swearing. All right. All right, let's see what we got next. Okay. And so, Canal, the bottom line is that just think of why things are called the way what they're called, and you'll never forget anything in your life. You know, so now you understand why it's called a balance sheet, because it has to balance. In accounting and finance is a lot easier than you think if you think of it that way. Always ask why. You know, like the old Sega commercial, challenge everything, you know, and it'll make more sense. And it's kind of like building a Lego house. Like people look at options and they think, oh my God, options it's just complicated. Calculus, oh my God, you lost me at calculus in grade 11 or whatever, which we never use in real life anyway. But if you understand why things are the way they are, then you'll remember it all. So for example, understanding options and what are called straddles and all that stuff, it's like a Lego house. If you build if you build a Lego Death Star, which I did with my kids years ago, I bought it for Christmas. My wife freaked out. She's like, oh my God, it's so expensive. And on the box, it says for 14 and up. The kids are younger than that. And so I took the average, this is true, of my 3 boys' age and me at the time, and that it was exactly 14. And then I said to Christine, Christine, this is going to take us weeks to make. I know it's $400. It's crazy. Or I can go golfing every Sunday for the next 5 Sundays and spend way more than that and not bond with my kids. And she was like, okay, I get it. But think about it that way. Building the Lego Death Star, okay, like 5,000 pieces, whatever it is. When you see it built, you're like, oh my God, that looks so I could never do that. But if you break it down piece by piece and build it, and my kids love building all the little figurines, and they let me do all the hard stuff. And it's so funny because I would play with my kids, and like a half hour every night at the dining room table. And yes, we put a big towel there so Christine wouldn't yell at us. But I damaged part of the table anyway, another story. But we would do like a half hour every night. And then the kids would I'd kind of look around like they're not there, and I just keep building. But it seemed intimidating looking at the final product, but it was simple because you follow the instructions in Lego. It's one brick at a time. And that's how I think about finance and accounting. You know, one block at a time, so to speak, one brick at a time. That's how I teach it too. And that's how I teach it to my MBA degree students as well. We're going to have a lot of fun with this. We're going to talk about why all this stuff is called what it's stuff. We're going to build on everything one block at a time. One block at a time. We're going to build it. And I burned all this stuff in it. It took forever. And woodworking is fun, actually. You can get this. I bought this woodworking set for $17. The burning pen thing. Burn the crap out of my hand. Make sure to get those special gloves if you do it. But you won't be intimidated by financial jargon if you start understanding each term individually, and then eventually you will build the Lego Death Star. Okay. Melody's saying, question. How far are you on your martial arts journey? Yeah. So I got one of my goals. So I wrote down all my goals, and I'm very humble to say I've achieved every goal I want in life. Except for one. And I used to carry those goals with me everywhere. And the one goal I've not gotten yet is a black belt in karate. Because I got into a car accident in 2008. My Prius side of it was jammed. Actually, no, it was my 3 Series Beamer. It was jammed, and then I bought a Prius. And then I got rid of it because my friends were teasing me because they saw that movie, The Other Guys. I'm not going to say what line, but they said that line from that movie. But my 3 Series, whatever, it was raining, and there was this Mexican truck, right, coming up from Mexico delivering stuff, and they smashed the side of my car, and I did not press charges at all. This was an accident, whatever. It was right by the DMV in here in California, and because of that, my back is messed up, right? So I can't do it yet. So I'm a mean yellow belt, like a really mean yellow belt or orange belt, whatever I got. I can't remember, but I will do it later in life. I'm going to find a way. And my back is getting a lot better now because and this sounds out there, but I travel everywhere when I travel with my own pillow. I know it's messed up. It's one of those therapeutic pillows you can buy from Brookstone, which doesn't exist anymore. It's like those form factors ones. And I did a lot of research. And by the way, for anybody out there who's going to be lifting weights, whatever, my son just started. He's actually put on about 10 pounds of muscle in the past 6 months. Amazing. Anything you're going to lift, always keep your back straight. Always, always, always. And I realized that's it. Like people, when they go to sleep, if they go to sleep on a crappy pillow, their head turns. You're screwed with your back eventually. Always has to be perfectly straight like this. Always, always, always. Anyway, a little off topic. Once you lose your back, you can't get it back. Next up is, and I will find a way to get my black belt one day. I will. Next up is, you wrote, do you do yoga? And you wrote, I do and love it. I do. I just don't have the time. So for me, I do so many things at once. Like you can't see it, but I can ride my bike down here, which is right there. I usually multitask, do multiple things at once. I do a lot of work in my garage on my used elliptical trainer. Because it releases serotonin and oxygen, helps you think better, always. So I always do 2 things at once when I'm exercising as well. I just don't have time. But I used to do Bikram yoga with my wife, which was fun. Yeah. And yeah, she hates me because I pranked her one day with Find My iPhone when she was in yoga class. And her teacher is like brutal when it comes to noise and stuff like that. I did it a couple times. She turns it off now. Next up, do you watch Ozarks? I do. I love it, dude. I love it. And it's, for those of you who haven't watched it, it's a little dark, but I love it. Season 3 is coming out soon on Netflix. It's amazing. And let me talk about Jason Bateman, because this is a really inspirational story. So he's the main actor, and of course he was in Arrested Development. So Jason Bateman, his sister Justine Bateman was in Family Ties. Remember that? But Jason Bateman was a big movie star in the 80s when he was a teenager. And he was in Teen Wolf Part 2. He was in a lot of great movies. And then in the 90s, we didn't see him at all. Nowhere to be seen. And he opened up about this. He was in rehab for all the 1990s because he burned out. He worked too hard. And we all have got to take off one day a week at least. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. Rest on the seventh day, always. And so he burned out in the 90s. You didn't see him. And he had to reinvent himself. It's like Robert Downey Jr. He was a druggie and awful upbringing. His dad did drugs with him when he was 6 years old. He publicly disclosed as well, yeah. But he reinvented himself as well. It's never too late to start over again. And now Jason Bateman's, he's killing it. Movie Juno, Tag, a lot of great movies, right? Game Night, which cracked me up. But but I'm looking forward to the Ozarks, yeah. Next up is, do you make smoothies for your kids? I do. So my youngest one, Dylan, he doesn't eat very much. We try everything. It's hard. So what I do sometimes is right at bedtime, I'll say, do you want a milkshake? And usually says yes. And I'll put bananas in it and a bunch of other stuff as well that helps him. I'll sneak in a lot of protein stuff as well, protein powder. But my son, Andrew, who I'm teaching him that when you put on muscle, like I put on 25 pounds of muscle one summer back when I was 19. I'm a lot smaller now, whatever. But I was explaining to him that you got to consume protein within 30 minutes of working out if you want to put on muscle, right? It's a window of opportunity, 30 minutes. And so for Christmas, we bought him this little Ninja blender thing, which is pretty cool. So he does that, yeah. So yes, yeah. Okay. And Samina is saying, me and my brother used to make do-it-yourself satellite discs. We would take copper plates and connect them to the TV cables for antennas. Studying French, I had TV5 on my side. Very cool. Very cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. Reminds me when I was a kid. Don't do this, but I used to live, when I lived in Montreal, we used to, I can't believe I'm doing this. This is awful. We used to go out on the fire escape, find cable that was going to another apartment. We'd cut it, and then we put a splicer in. Yeah, anyway. Terrible. Don't do that. Okay, Melody is saying, Chris, about how many AOL discs do you think you got in the mail? I showed my kids. They thought it was very ancient. I got a ton. I got some CompuWare ones. CompuWare as well. Yeah. No, we had tons. So it kind of became trays for desks and stuff. Yeah. I remember those days. You've got mail. And by the way, if anybody has an AOL account or a Hotmail account or a Yahoo account, get rid of it. On your resume, use a Gmail account or something else. Because if you still have an AOL account, it makes, I used to have a Hotmail account. People said, oh my God, Chris, you're ancient. Yeah. And Forgio is saying, hello, Chris. I want to start financial consulting firm. Recommendations can you give me? Yeah. So I first of all, in order to get credibility, I recommend working for a big financial services firm if you can. You can even work in private wealth management or banking or whatever it is. Or I'm not sure how old you are, but sometimes you can join these big banks and go through a rotation program where they'll rotate you through different departments. Like in Canada, in Toronto, for example, the Royal Bank of Canada has a 2-year program where you rotate among different departments. And once you're armed with that skill set, it'll get you more credible. And also you'll learn real stuff as well. You can apply. Now, that's probably the best way to do it. You can also go work for a private equity firm or any general consulting firm that has a bit of a finance bent to it. So that's what I recommend. And what I recommend also is go to find yourself in the future on LinkedIn today. And the way to do that, sounds out there now, is search on LinkedIn for somebody that is living your dream life. Maybe they have the job you want in the future, right? So search for whatever bank it is or whatever firm it is. And when you find that person, look at what they accomplished on their resume, on their LinkedIn profile. And that's a gap. And you can work on filling that gap as well. But the most important thing about consulting is, can you sell? And those people that rise up to become partner in a consulting firm are the ones that can sell. That's what a partner is in a law firm or a consulting firm. You're a glorified salesperson. Same thing with CEO or an entrepreneur. You can sell. So make sure you network a lot, because your net worth is your network. Yeah. This guy's freaking me out. I don't know why. I got to get rid of him. Ugh. But Aya can stay here. Aya Stark. She's cool. She's with me. All right. Moving Gifts has a question. Hi, Chris. Hey, Moving Gifts. How are you? The question is, with an app ready to bring to market and almost no more cash left after paying for rent, groceries, etc. for a few years while coding, how do I keep it going? Should I go to the VC route with a pitch deck? Should I get a job? I didn't want that, as it takes a lot of time and doesn't feel right in my heart, but allows to pay rent and groceries. I get it. And do this on the side while not giving up equity. Also, many venture capital firms are sharks, I agree, and care more about money than about the passion or purpose. Yeah, I hear you. And then you wrote, are the non-shark VCs that can align with the app purpose impact more than money? Can you shed some light on what you think is best to do? Yeah. So a couple things. And I'm going to answer this in a more generic way to kind of apply to everybody. But start side hustles while you work for other people. And, write a business plan. And you can take my complete business plan course on Udemy. And failing to plan is planning to fail. Like, you got to write a business plan first, always, always, always. And so I'm not sure if you've written a business plan. You probably have. If you haven't, please write one now. Okay, just to understand where the company is going longer term. And a byproduct of writing the business plan and taking my business plan course is I provide you with 25 templates that will pull information automatically out of your business plan for investor slide decks. Okay, so there's 25 different 10 slide decks templates I provide you with. And what I would do is I wouldn't go to venture capital. I would go to angel investors, high net worth investors, because the sales cycle is a lot shorter with a rich person than it is with an institutionalized venture capital firm, where they have to get the buy-in of other partners and all this other stuff. So, and the best way to do is go to my website, harounventures.com, and read my networking book. It's free, and it will help you to raise money. I promise you. It will. It will. And you always want to use other people's money, unless you have a lot yourself, because you don't want to put your family at risk or your standard of living. And yes, there are plenty of people out there that will invest in you and in your company. You just got to network a lot. Your network is your net worth. So again, get that book of mine. It's a free download. Read it cover to cover. I promise you, it will help you to be able to raise capital from high net worth investors. That's what I recommend. That's what I recommend. Yeah. Okay, and David's saying, Chris, I'd appreciate to have your thoughts on the Cayman Islands and LLC businesses when it comes to corporate taxes and asset protection. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. So for those who are not familiar with the Cayman Islands, it's a tax haven. So a lot of American-based hedge funds and private equity firms, what they'll do is they'll incorporate offshore in the Cayman Islands. Now, when I had my hedge fund, I did not use the Cayman Islands because it was too expensive. Cayman is really prestigious. I used the British Virgin Islands, BVI, instead. And that's where I have the offshore vehicle for my hedge fund. And so domestic investors in America would all invest in my onshore vehicle. It's called a master feeder structure. They both feed into the same LLC, which was my company. And offshore investors would invest in the offshore so that they didn't have to pay U.S. taxes, right? And you never give tax advice ever to any of your investors or clients, ever, ever, ever. Let them talk to an accountant, okay? And so for you, please talk to an accountant and also to, a lawyer. And so if you're interested in using the Cayman Islands, what I recommend doing is go to, and legal fees are expensive. Go to LegalZoom.com, okay? LegalZoom. And it'll cost you $15 or $30 actually, because it's a business purpose. $30 to speak with an attorney, okay? and you're locked in for 6 months. It's a good investment, and I use this a lot. It works out well. Now, yeah. So, and what I did actually is I hired 2 law firms for my hedge fund. One of them is called the Securities Law Group in San Francisco, and the lawyer there is a guy named Jim Grand. Good guy. He did great work for me. And what he did was he then hired, because I wanted to deal with one person only. He hired another firm in the British Virgin Islands to create the board of directors there, as well as all the incorporation documents and all that crazy legal stuff. You can't do it yourself, because you got to get somebody that understands the legal code, the tax code, etc. Plus, when you start your own company, you just want to focus all your time on one thing, which is building that product or service or whatever it is, and everything else is a waste of time. Yeah, speak to a lawyer first, though, please. But I like the fact you're looking into incorporating, though. In I don't know what LCC means. I know what LLC is. It's limited liability corporation, meaning your liabilities are limited. But you got to incorporate your company. Always talk to lawyers, not to me, because if something goes wrong, God forbid, you could lose your house, car, everything gone. Right? You got to incorporate always. Just think of protecting your family and yourself as well. Yeah. Okay. Anjali is saying, "Hi, Chris. How do you present a video presentation?" Yeah. So I have a course that's I think it's 16 hours called the Complete Presentation Course that'll help you out a lot on Udemy. Check that out. I think that will help a lot. Yeah. If you have a more specific question about presenting, please let me know. Thank you. All right. Next question is, let me just check to see if there's any complaints on the quality of the audio or video. One second. Okay. No, nothing. But I do have this app called Water Miner. It told me I should be drinking water right now. Give me a second. All right. I know it's kind of crazy. I'm part of the whole quantified self movement. And one of my biggest issues, I don't drink enough water, which is why I can do 9.5-hour calls straight without getting up, as you guys know. All right. And then Fanny has got a question. Fanny's saying, can you share your experience, opinion, and advice on how minority entrepreneurs can make it in an imperfect world? Wow. I think that success in business in general all comes down to your ability to network. Okay, so get my networking book. It's on my website. Just go to harounventures.com and you can download it for free. And that will help you understand how to network. And relationships are more important than product knowledge. And if certain doors are closed, then just keep trying to open other doors. That's a generic statement for everybody in this call. By networking a lot. Yeah. So check out that book again. It's free. And if you have follow-up questions, please let me know. And thanks as always. All right. It's killing me that that's slightly off. There we go. And Anjali is saying, "Hi, Chris. Hey, I want to quit my job and start a business. What's your suggestion on this?" Yeah. Don't quit your job unless you have financial security. That is, what I recommend doing is write a business plan first. Okay, failing to plan is plan to fail. It is a cliche, but it's true. And so you can take my complete business plan course on Udemy if you want to. It's 9 hours long, and I teach you how to write a business plan. Do not start a company until you write a business plan, always. And most people don't write a business plan. It's crazy. It might be the most important decision you make. Something that will impact your relationship with your loved ones. Your financial assets, whatever. Your sense of purpose in what you're doing here, career-wise. So please write a business plan first. Please write it first. And after you've written the business plan, if you have additional questions, please let me know. But writing a business plan is a great thing to do because it might convince you not to do it, not to start the company. And if I've convinced you not to start a company and saved you a lot of money and heartache, then I've done the right thing. And I feel good about it. If I've convinced you to start a company after you've done due diligence based on my methodologies, my courses, then I feel great. Yeah. Omar is saying good morning. Same to you. How are you? And Ted is saying, you want me to write a book. Okay, fine. I'll write one. It's going to be titled 10 Life Lessons I Learned at the Rest Home. Number one, your opinion of me is not nearly as important as my opinion of me. Oh, I love it. Yeah, your opinion of me does not have to become my reality. I love it. Number two, wasting time is not always a waste of time. Yeah, sometimes it's experimenting. Like sometimes when I waste time or procrastinate, I'm actually procrastinating doing something I love doing. And so I try to turn whatever it is that I love doing into my full-time gig so that procrastinating becomes a full-time job, if that makes sense. Number three, the power of the last name. You can quickly bond with someone by asking about their last name, write it down if appropriate. It shows respect for them and their family. And then more chapters to follow. Yeah, and one of my biggest problems in business has been just remembering names. I'm so bad at it. And so what I do now is when I meet somebody, I think of a movie star with the same name. And I think of that person being friends with that person. I know it sounds silly, but that's how I remember things. Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. No. Definitely. And when your book is ready, let me know. But here's what I want you to do. I want you to set a deadline date. Yeah. And I say this with love in my heart. But Ted, when is it going to be published? And that way I can ask you. I'm going to be very inspired by you. I know that for a fact. When I read your book, but always set a deadline date as well. Because what happened with me was I told people I was writing a book years ago. It was called 101 Crucial Lessons They Don't Teach You in Business School. I told people I was writing a book. And every time I went to family gatherings, they're like, so how's that book coming along? And do a search on YouTube. This will crack you up for Family Guy book. And you'll see it's a funny video. Everybody asks them, how's your book coming along? How's your book coming along? But if you vocalize your deadline date, and you vocalize your goals, the probability of you getting it done faster or sooner or before the deadline goes up materially. Yeah. All right. Kimi is saying how to get in on the MBA. Yeah. So go to my, if you want, just go to my website. Maybe I'll show you here. Go to my website. So go to harounventures.com. And then just go up here to the MBA program, and you can read through the FAQ, and tons of stuff is there, and you can apply as well if you want to. And the next program starts on this date here. Yeah. All right. Good morning, YouTube, Paul. Armando is saying, good morning, Chris. Listening from Texas. Excellent. Thank you. Please bring your tax code and implement it immediately in California here on the left coast, please. It's crazy, man. Like California is like the seventh or eighth biggest country in the world, and it's basically bankrupt with all these unbelievable technology companies here. It is so incredibly mismanaged. The left coast. All right. And Andrew Dupree is saying, thanks for the early accounting lesson, how to set up ledgers, please. Yes. And I'll mention that as well. And I've actually got a ledger book that I bought on eBay that I'm going to go through as well. And it's a prop I used in my complete cryptocurrency course as well. But I'm going to make this easy to understand and fun as well, man. I want to have a good time with this, If it feels boring to teach, it's going to suck. And plus, I want to teach something different. Like in my Udemy courses, I kind of taught it graphically, but I want to kind of push the envelope by doing something a little bit different this way. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it too. And the kids are having fun too. Wood burning is fun. Always wear gloves though. And Amin is saying, hi, Chris. Hey, man. I would like to establish a software company in Germany where I live and the taxes are high. Isn't it better if I try to establish the company in the United States or Canada from an economic and growth perspective or point of view? Yeah. Access to labor is an issue. And what you can do is you can get access online. So I do outsource a lot of stuff online. That might be a great way to go as well. But I'm not familiar with the German tax code, how you'd structure it. Talk to a lawyer first. But you can get all of your developers offshore if you want to. Yeah. And there's also grants as well, government grants for starting companies in some places. Like, for example, I was a partner in a venture capital firm years ago, and our offices, we got it up on 6th and Market Street in the Tenderloin district in San Francisco, a very dangerous area. It's better now. But one of the reasons why we were there, it made sense. And a lot of our portfolio companies were there as well. And Zendesk was across the street, their headquarters, because of tax breaks from the San Francisco, the mayor set up tax breaks, if payroll tax breaks, if you locate in certain areas. So look into it. There's usually tax benefits you can find. Maybe talk to a tax accountant in Germany for more help on that matter. All right. All right. Paul, how are you, man? So Paul from Barcelona, of course I remember you. And so Paul, great guy. I met with Paul actually in Barcelona. I was there on vacation this summer. We met up and he gave me a couple of amazing shirts and stuff. And I've actually got them. I will wear them one week. I almost wore it today actually because I want to wear something long sleeve. Maybe I'll wear it next week. But thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, great to hear from you. And you got a company I remember we talked about. We went for a walk on La Rambla. Something kind of like Expedia or Travelocity app-based, I think, yeah. And then you wrote here, I always have to catch your office hours later on, but today I'm glad I made it. I think I'm still on time to wish you a happy New Year to you. Lots of love back to you and your family as well. Thank you. That's right, you met my kids, and one of them kind of had a meltdown. Yeah. My kids wanted to, they wanted to go to an Adidas store, a flagship store. I remember that day. Yeah. That's cool. No, great to see you again, man. And thanks again. And I'm going to scroll down. You wrote here, you got a question. I skipped a bunch of stuff in the middle. I'll get back to that in a second. Other people. So here's the question. What is your favorite interview question when hiring someone or the best one you've ever heard? Okay. So if you're being interviewed, my favorite question to ask if you're being interviewed by a very senior executive is this. What is the most misunderstood aspect of your business model by investors or potential customers? And usually what happens is a senior executive will go like this. Oh boy, that's a good question there. Let me think about that. And they'll love it. They'll open up. They'll feel more relaxed. It's just a great question to ask. And I actually ask that of all CFOs and CEOs I meet with before investing in their company. That's the same question I ask all the time. Now, I might have misunderstood your question, which might be, what's my favorite question I ask when hiring somebody? So it all depends. Like if it's for an investment job and I'm hiring an analyst, I used to use a tactic I learned from a buddy of mine named Andrew Warner at Goldman years ago. I'll say, what's your favorite investment idea? And once the interviewer starts talking, or the person being interviewed starts talking, I'll then interrupt politely. I'll say, okay, what's your second favorite investment idea? And they'll start talking. I'll say, no, what's your third favorite investment idea? So it shows breadth of knowledge on their part if they're prepared and they didn't just come to pitch one stock. And also, it kind of shows how they operate under pressure as well. And if they don't know, and if they say, I don't know, but I'll get back to you, I respect that as well. I love it because it shows they're not being BSing. Yeah. So, yeah. All right. But every sector is a little bit different. And if anybody asks you a very open-ended question, like, tell me about yourself, make it 30 seconds and just think of your resume, top to bottom, chronologically speaking. Yeah. And always list your passions, your interests at the bottom as well. Because a lot of times people, they kind of want, when they're interviewing you, they kind of want to see if they can carry a conversation with you. Like you're a salesperson, and can you talk to customers? So some of the jobs I've gotten have been because I wrote baseball at the bottom as one of my interests, and always list team sports. So for you, it would be football as well. I know you're a big football fan. Barcelona Football Club, right? That's the jersey you got me. And thanks again for that. It's wonderful. All right, this thing is making noise. House gone. Okay. All right. Next up is, let's see here. If I missed anybody in between, just paste them again, please. Gregory. And I always smile when I see your name, dude, because I think of that TV show Succession and that character named Gregory, who's British, actually. What a great show. Especially the old father, who the matriarch, the guy that runs the company. I think he just got an Emmy, actually. He got an Emmy, yeah. and he fist pumped Jason Momoa in his tank top. I remember that on the way up to the stage. He's quite a great actor, that guy is, though. So Gregory saying, hello, Chris. Happy New Year. Full of success and accomplishment, and, of course, health. Thank you. I appreciate that. And Gregory saying, I'm so happy to watch again live, the call. Thank you. And you wrote the last one was so inspiring. Thank you. Thank you. And you always bring a smile to my face because of that show, Succession. And that's probably the best. It's probably the best show on TV right now. I absolutely love it. I love it. And Macaulay Culkin's little brother was nominated actually for an Emmy as well. He does a great job being this jerk. They're all jerks in that show, but I love it to death. It's great. Except for Gregory. He's not a jerk. Okay. And then Gregory's saying, regarding the Blue Ocean strategy books, could help with your MBA students. Yeah, somebody else sent me a message on, I think somebody left, I don't know who it was, but somebody left a comment on that on one of my YouTube videos. Yeah. I'm not, maybe it was you, but a lot of people keep telling me about this Blue Ocean. I don't even know what it is. Yeah, let me go here. Yeah, no, a lot of people are telling me about these Blue Ocean books, dude. I have no idea what they are, but if you could, like, if you can summarize it, that I'd appreciate it, because I get a lot of people ask me about Blue Ocean books. Yeah, thank you. And then you wrote, I have these Disney bonds. Value is so low. Yes, I agree. I like to buy corporate bonds in low-risk companies, like AAA bonds. All right. Let me go back up here. I missed a bunch, I think. John Cleese from Rochester. I always remember your name because I think of John Cleese. And because the first time you came on the call over a year ago, you asked me who's my favorite Canadian comedian. Of course, I said Jim Carrey. But I remember your name, John Cleese from Rochester. That's how I remember. You wrote, hey, Chris, happy Thursday. Can you explain to me what the repo or repurchase markets are? And why do I keep hearing about it? Does QE play a role? Yeah, so QE is quantitative easing. Repo just means repurchase of assets. That's it. So in general, what happens is when governments buy back a lot of bonds that they sold years ago, when they buy them back, what happens is, let's say you own a bond and you sell it to me, I'm the government. I buy it back from you, okay? And let me use a real example, actually. All right, so I've got this here. So this is I'm just preparing a bunch of props for my MBA students. Here we go. Okay, yeah. All right. Let's say that you own this bond. This is a real U.S. bond that financed World War II. Very patriotic thing to do, from 1945. eBay. So you own this bond, okay? And what I do is, I'm the government, you're a consumer or a bank or whoever. What I do is I then buy that bond back from you, okay? So I bought it back from you and I give you money, okay? So what just happened was, and think of it on a massive scale, I just gave you money and I bought this back from you. So I just put a lot more money into the system, and multiply that transaction times 1 million people doing this, okay? So a lot more money is out there, and it's supply and demand. So if I told you that this is the only Arya Stark pop funk or whatever it's called, a character on the market, it'd be worth a lot. There's only one. But if I made 1 billion of them, sorry, Aya, she's a badass, she'll kick my ass. If I made 1 billion of them, then the price would be a lot lower, right? Because they're everywhere. Think of money that way too. If I print a lot more money, right, and I can print money as a government, and then buy back from you that bond, I put a lot more money out there in society, then what happens is the value of money goes down a lot, okay? So that's probably the best way to think of it. And when the value of money goes down a lot, that means that interest rates actually go down as well. So this is cash, and it kills me because this won't. I have a box called cash. It won't fit in it perfectly. Work in progress. Okay. All right. And QE is quantitative easing, and so There's QE 1, 2, 3, and a bunch of them. In 2008, it was the end of the world. Like we were within bank machines, 24 hours of bank machines not working in every country. It was that scary. And so what the government did was they kept cutting interest rates as much as they could. And every time they did it, they called it, let's do some more quantitative easing. And then eventually interest rates were zero and nothing was working. It was scary. And governments have to raise interest rates during economic recessions, during good times, because they raise interest rates in good times. And the second that the economy is in a recession, like, oh my God, how are we going to jumpstart the economy? Oh, we can cut interest rates. Okay, that's quantitative easing. They cut interest rates, right? And they've got a couple more bullets in their chamber. Cut interest rates more and more and more. And every time interest rates go down, people are like, oh, cool. I'm going to get a loan and I'm going to invest in stocks. Or I'm going to get a loan, I'm going to start a company because it's cheaper money now. Governments have to raise interest rates when things are good. If they don't, they won't be able to go and jumpstart the economy when things are bad. They have to raise interest rates when things are good. Otherwise, they're fiscally irresponsible or too short-term focused on an election or something. So, and then what happened was in 2008, I mean, it was crazy, man. Interest rates were basically cut to zero, and it didn't matter. Like nothing was working, and there's no more bullets left. And so, desperate times call for desperate measures. And what the government did was they started doing crazy things, like cash for clunkers, which means they would buy back old cars from you or all Americans to put more money into the system. It was nutty. Or they made a rule that 800 stocks could not be shorted in September of 2008. Imagine that. So again, desperate times call for desperate measures. But whenever you hear QE, just think of quantitative easing, meaning more money being put out there. Yeah. All right. All right, next up is Karen. Hey, Karen. Karen is saying, hi, Chris. I just want to say hello to everyone. This is the first webcast of yours that I've joined. Thanks, Karen. Appreciate it. And I got a message yesterday, an email from somebody named Karen. I don't know if it's you, saying that you wanted to connect with me. If it was you, welcome. And the best way to connect with me is always over this webcast. Thank you. And if it wasn't you, welcome anyway. Okay, Rose. Rose is RZ. Rose. How cool is that, eh? Isn't that great? Rose, who's in our MBA program. Rose wrote, and I moved the monitors around a bit, and I'm trying to set it up so that I don't read questions there. I'm trying to read them here. And because before I had it up above, which is kind of intimidating, you know what I mean? Okay. So Rose is saying, Chris, question pertaining to the daily vlog, episode 533 about logos. You asked this question on YouTube as well. I saw that. I was about to reply. You wrote, did you already trademark the HEV logo? At what point do you think it's a good time to trademark a logo or a name? Yeah. So the best time is once you start to make money. Okay. Once you start to make money, is when you register a company, as well as you get the trademark on that logo. Yeah. All right, next up, and Rose, if you want more details on that, let's do a one-on-one in the MBA program. I'm not sure if you signed up yet, but there's a lot of moving parts I need to speak about with you on that. Yeah. All right. And Ali is saying, hi all, and hi Chris. Hey, how are you? And Asmina is saying, you can go to Budapest in green screen. Oh yes, oh my God, Asmina, you gave me over LinkedIn, a picture. I asked people for pictures. I think you gave one to me. So, and I told my students that if you send me a LinkedIn picture of where you're from and all that stuff, what I'll do is I'll put it in the backdrop. So let's go there together. Okay. So let's go here to messaging, and I will search. This was ages ago. Asimina. Here we go. Here we go. Great. Oh, thank you very much. You gave me the coding stuff too. Yeah. Okay. Here's pictures you've taken. Oh, dude, that's so. And this was the one out your window or something one day. I remember that, right? So what I'll do is let me download this. Actually, what I'll do is this. Just keep it simple, and I'll put this in my backdrop right now. Okay. So I'm going to go here, and I'll show you guys how I do all this. Right there. What a gorgeous picture. All right. Hold on a second. Let's get rid of that. Then I'm going to add the image down here so I can green screen this thing. Add the media. Saved on my desktop. Sort. I'm pretty sure I just did that, didn't I? Or desktop here, sorry. Oh, here it is here. Yeah. All right, good. All right, good. It's right here. And then I'm going to go make it full screen. Give me 1 second, guys. This will be worth it. All right, so that's done. I have a glitch here on this program. I unglitch it. Wirecast is not that robust. And I go here to green screen, okay? And it's done. And watch this. Yeah, don't tell me I don't take you guys places. I'm taking you somewhere now. All right, this is the wonderful picture taken by Asamina. And I need to get rid of, that's the wrong one, actually, go here. Yeah, it's better view. And I will move this over here. And now I've got the beautiful picture that was taken by Asamina, which I think I'm going to leave on for a while. Thank you for that. Isn't that cool? And these things are getting in the way. Yeah. I'll leave these here for now. How's that? How's that? Still not doing it justice. You know, yeah. Yeah, these have got to go. All these things have got to go. There we go. All right, done. Done. Thank you very much for that, Asamina. That's the background there, too. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Yeah, I want to go to Budapest, not only in green screen, but also in reality. I'd love to go there. Love to go there. Now I got that song Budapest in my head. Great song, by the way. All right. Avi Pro saying, why not get a Gothenburg, Sweden background for your green screen? Awesome. Yeah. I mean, let's do it right now. I'll show you guys how it works. Ready? Let's do this. All right. So I'm going to share my screen, and I don't even know where that is. Gothenburg, Sweden. I went to Gamla, the old town, when I was in Stockholm with my buddies in undergrad, when I was in MBA school. We went over there. And why is it like every single woman, like I'm not exaggerating, every single woman in Sweden is gorgeous. Like no exception. Let's go here. Paste. Gothenburg, Sweden. Okay. And I'm going to go to images. Okay, cool. Oh, that's a beautiful one. It's high res. Oh, look at the color there. That's just going to pop. Oh, dude. Oh my God. Look at that. All right. I'm going to do this one. So save image as. I'm going to get the full one. So I'm going to save it just to my desktop, whatever. All right. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add it down here. I'll show you guys how it works. Add the image. I saved it on my desktop right there, canal. And then what I'll do is I will make it big, scale to fit. Then I'll go back here and I got to make it a little bit bigger. So I will scale it more. Whoops. I want to scale me. I want to scale this picture. So let's scale it. Look at that color. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. Okay, great. There it is. Let me make it bigger so everybody can see it. And we're good. We're good to go. Thank you for that. That's a beautiful picture, dude. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Look at that. Look at that. Love it. Thank you for that. All right. Next one is Ali. And let me just change this. Get me a little bit bigger. There you go. That's better. It's so beautiful, dude. It looks like a painting. It really does. Is that a painting or that's actually a picture, dude? Or is it? I mean, it looks so amazing. It's a picture, or it's a picture, not a painting. That's incredible. Very cool. Well, thanks for that. That's dope, as the young people would say these days. Ali's saying, Chris, I appreciate it if you can talk a little bit about FinTech. I have an interview soon with a FinTech company, and I'm looking for your recommendations. Thank you. Yeah. So the biggest FinTech venture capital investor in the world is Citi. I know them quite well. Citi Ventures here in Palo Alto. And if you want, what you can do is you can do a search for City Ventures portfolio companies. And you can find out what investments they've made. They have their finger on the pulse, which is great. Aside from that, make sure you have a high-level understanding of the payment industry. There is a $5 billion payment acquisition that was announced 2 days ago. Look into that. Make sure to also understand the difference between that, Venmo, PayPal, whatever, Stripe, and all that stuff. Those are important payment processing companies. Have an opinion on Square as well. Jack Dorsey's company, along with Twitter's his other company. Somehow he managed both. And then I think that's probably good. That's good. Yeah. Look at the product portfolio of City Ventures, just to start. Yeah. And all big investment banks now have FinTech portfolios as well. So you can also search for Goldman Sachs FinTech investments, Morgan Stanley FinTech investments. If you're not in America, say you're in, I don't know, Europe, you could search for, in Germany, Deutsche Bank FinTech investments. Or if you're in Switzerland, Credit Suisse or UBS, 2/3 of which is BS, sort of. So is HBS, Haroun Business School. You could search for FinTech investments, UBS or Credit Suisse, that sort of thing. So that'll get you going. Okay. Thank you, Akil. Okay, good. Asamina got it. Yes. Asamina got it. It's Arya Stark. Good. Okay, good. You named it, which means, Asamina, you get one of my courses for free. So I want you to email Wrigley, who works with me. Wrigley, R-I-G-L-E-Y. All right, not the gum, W, but it's R-I-G-L-E-Y at harounventures.com, and just ask him for any course. He'll send it to you for free. Good job. There she is there. She's dope. She won't stand up, though. Like, I've tried everything. So I'll just leave her right there. There we go. Good. All right. Great. Look at that color in the background, man. It just pops. Love it. All right. Next up, Asamina said, do you have the rest of them as well? Or did she struck them with the pointy end? Yeah, she ended all of them right there. Yeah. No, I just have this one. I got this one for a prop. She's the equity holder in a case study I'm doing for my MBA students. And I've got other ones too. Like if you look just for case studies that I'm creating as well. So you'll see 3 other characters right there. Take a screen print if you want, screenshot, because I'm going to hide that in a second. And whoever tells me what these 3 characters are from, they're all from the same source. Okay, it might be a movie or a show. Whoever tells me gets a free course as well. Okay. All right. I'm going to lower it. Ready? You got to screen print it? Screen print it? Yeah. Okay. Now we're going back to beautiful Gothenburg, Sweden. Thank you, Avi Pro. Look at that color. Isn't that gorgeous? It's nice. All right. Let's see what we got next here. Okay, and then Lucy, hey Lucy, is saying, any advice for women in tech or other mostly male-dominated industries to stand out? From observation, it takes almost 2 times as long for women to get promoted. I already networking and a high performer. Yeah, I would say that you can never network enough, ever. And if you haven't already, sorry for the noise, but if you haven't already done so, please read this networking book here. You can go to, there it is. You can go to harounventures.com and download that book. It's free. It'll teach you, it's over 200 pages, everything I know about networking, and a couple hours of YouTube videos linked as well. I guarantee it'll work for you. I promise you. You'll get whatever you want just by networking aggressively, because your net worth is your network. And if you weren't happy with that answer, or if you want to drill down, let me know and I'll answer a different way. Thank you. All right. And Avi Pro wrote, multitasking is the art of messing up several things at once, as I clearly did this morning in the opening session when I was trying to, what a disaster. I tried to set everything up, but anyway, I'm trying. All right. And Karen is writing, I have passion, dedication, ideas, and purpose. I want to create a multi-million-dollar business. Being a woman and having ambition is still a misnomer in the modern world. I want to bring about a change. Excellent. Good for you. Good for you. So about the company you want to create, I want you to take my complete business plan course. I promise you it'll help you tremendously. It'll help you crystallize your thought process when thinking about qualitative and quantitative issues with your companies. It'll tell you how to create financial statements from scratch, even if you have never used, you have no idea what accounting and all this stuff means. I teach it all from scratch. I also provide you with 50 business plan templates in that 9-hour course and 25 investor slide templates as well. You'll love it, and I'm going to give it to you for free. So, Karen, please email Wrigley, who is my COO and head of business development, and ask him for that free course. Just say I mentioned on the call as well. Okay. So his email is Wrigley. That's Rigley. Again, that's Rigley at harounventures.com, and just ask him for a free coupon for that business plan course. I promise you it'll work. And if you have questions along the way, and the reason why I originally created this weekly call was so that I could actually so I could answer questions people have about the business plans from that course. But now I just kind of open it up and it's fun. Yeah. Anyway, so check that out, that course, and yeah, he should reply pretty quickly. I nickname him Real Time Wrigley because he's fast. He's lightning fast, like Iceman. Fast. That was from Top Gun, by the way. Okay. And Smart Life is saying, hey, Chris, hey, how are you? And you wrote, I did not receive the book. I shared my detail, received no email. I don't know what book you're talking about. I'm sorry. Yeah. If you're referring to a book, then just you can get my networking book for free at my website there. And let me know if I'm not answering that question correctly. Thanks. And then you wrote here, thanks for your inputs last week. Oh, yeah. You were the one. I remember now. We did the YouTube. You asked me to look at your YouTube channel and provide you with feedback. Yeah. I remember now. You wrote, thanks for your inputs last week. I've made some minor changes to my YouTube channel. And I've also enrolled for the YouTube course on Udemy. Thank you. Appreciate that. And then Smart wrote, are you not active on LinkedIn in message? I received no reply. What's the best way to connect you? Yeah, it is so hard. Like I receive so many LinkedIn messages. I can't reply to all of them. I'm so sorry. I have over 20,000 people, whatever. It's just hard. It's hard. Yeah. The best way to reach me is always here. Yeah. And if anybody ever finds my email and emails me, I don't respond. I just can't, it's just too much. I'm so sorry. So the best way to always reach me is right here. In this 3-hour weekly webcast. And for those of you that are in my MBA course, obviously, you can access me many other ways, and you guys get one-on-ones too. Yeah. Good to see you again. Ali in the house. Ali is... hold on a second, guys. I just skipped a whole section by accident. Here we go. Yeah. Ali is saying, Chris, you mentioned before that cash is the worst investment, and you recommended to invest in stocks. Would you please teach us how to buy gold stocks on Yahoo Finance? Yeah, absolutely. The best way to buy gold is go over here to Yahoo Finance. Let me go here. Finance.yahoo.com and enter in the ticker for gold, GLD. Okay. You can also buy Barrick Gold, a Canadian company, ABX, I think was the ticker. It's been a while. Yeah, Barrick Gold, that's a stock, right? But just buy GLD itself. It's easier. Okay. GLD, right? So get a brokerage firm, and buy gold if you want to. I'm not going to tell you whether to buy or not. I usually love to buy stocks or investments when they're crashing. And here the annual expense ratio is very low. It's only 0.4%. I never get kickbacks from mentioning any of this stuff, please. That's what I recommend. And if you don't have a brokerage account, then what you can do, if you want to, is you can just call your bank and ask somebody at the bank to recommend a firm they work with to help you buy stocks. And once you get that account open, then you can look into maybe buying GLD and other investments if you want to. Okay, cool. All right. And Karen is saying, by the way, thanks for the welcome, Gregory and Rose. That's right. Welcome to the call, Karen. Kurt, hey, Kurt, how are you, man? Kurt dropping in. I'm on and off today due to meetings. I hope everyone is doing great. Same to you. Thank you. And then Karen wrote, Smart Life. Okay, so Karen, you're on here twice. You're on here as Smart Life and Karen. Okay, I gotcha. So Smart Life is the name of your... Oh, no, Karen is talking to Smart Life. I'm sorry. Smart Life is the name of your YouTube channel. I've tried searching it and I can't find it. And so Smart Life, if you want, you can provide more details on how to access it. Don't share links, though, here, because for some dumb reason, YouTube won't let you do it. So I don't know why. All right. And Avi Pro from Sweden is saying, I'm thinking of moving. In your opinion, where in the United States would be the best to move or start a company? Mostly, I put overhead costs as an issue as I am solo. You're quitting. Oh, you're quitting flying. Okay, cool. Best place to live to start a company. I mean, I like the Bay Area if you work solely in tech, but not as much as I used to. The taxes are stupid high. It's hard though, dude. Like you have a son you mentioned earlier, so I was going to say New York, but not a great place to raise a family. Maybe Charlotte, North Carolina. I used to live there when I was working on the merger of Nations Bank and Bank of America years ago. It's nice. I like Florida a lot, although the summers can get too hot. Maybe during the summers, during summer holidays, if you can get time off, go back to Sweden then. But I like Florida. You know, the taxes are very, very low. Very low. It's great. Miami has a vibrant social life, which I enjoy. It's great. The whole strip there is fantastic. And it's cheap, too. It's cheap, relatively speaking. So, yeah. It depends what you want to do, though. You got to let me know what you want to do. Because if you want to work in financial services, Florida is really tough. There isn't really a good financial center unless you live in Boca Raton and you're managing money for wealthy people. Yeah. All right. Time for some waterfalls. Okay. And Akil is saying, sir, the link from the calendar for our next MBA only webcast is the link for the 24th MBA only web. It's at today's 17th. Ooh, thank you for that. Okay, let me go check that right now. All right. Hold on a second, please. And I'll let you guys see what I'm doing. If I don't know if you care, but all right. So here it is. Here. That's today's, right? I hope I didn't screw that up. I'll go here. And these are today's one-on-ones. And Akil, I've got you at 1:50 today, right? I think that's today. Yeah, today at 1:50 we're doing a call together. Yeah. All right, let me do paste here for the MBA webcast. Oh my God, you're right. Thank you. Okay. I gotta change this in real time then. I'm so sorry for those of you who are watching, but I've got to make just a little change here. Did I swap the weeks? Yeah, I screwed up. Hold on. Yeah. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I've got to do something here. And God bless you for that. Thank you, man. So I'm going to go into my YouTube channel, and I'll show you how you set up a webcast if you guys care. Go here to YouTube Studio. Thank you so much for pointing that out, dude. Thank you. Go to live. Here it is. Yes, this is it here. Okay, good. So this is the one here. Yeah, right here. And this here is the link. MBA only. Good. Okay, good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into calendar and change that. One second, guys. I'm so sorry for this. Thanks, guys. Give me 1 second, guys. Want to double check it? Good. One waiting. All right. And I'm worried now because some people might have gone there. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to go to next week's. Or I'm going to go to today's. No, next week's actually. I'm going to rename this one in here in case somebody goes there. All right. Hold on a second. I'm going to edit this. And I'm just going to rename this. Hold on. Urgent. Please go to this link here instead for Jan 16th webcast in case somebody goes there. Paste it. Save. All right. Now that was the old one. So if anybody clicks on that old one, this will show up. Okay, good. So they'll go here. That's next week's. And they'll just paste that in here. And that's probably good damage control, right? Yeah, we're good. All right, it starts at 11. Okay, Akil, thank you so much for that, dude. You're the man. You're the man. Okay, let me close this. And let's get back to Chris here. And I'll read the next question. All right. Thanks again for that, dude. You're the man. All right. So next question is Mercy, who's from Victoria, British Columbia. Mercy, you had this morning. You had a one-on-one meeting, right? With that dude. And let me know, by the way, if there's a delay between audio and video here. This is a new angle I'm playing around with. But Mercy had an informational interview this morning with somebody from CGI, a great IT services company. I think it was 8:30 this morning, right, in Vancouver. And then, I want to hear how it went. And you wrote, "I'm here for the meeting I mentioned. I got my coffee and texted him so he knows how to recognize me. Wish me luck, please." Okay, you're waiting for him. You got there early because good, at a Starbucks. So wishing you good luck. Wish good everyone who's on the call now, even people who have never ever written anything before. I want you all to say right now, good luck. Right, so that's like 50 people or however many were on this call, or 100. I have no idea. Everybody write good luck, Mercy. There we go. And we're all sending wonderful karma your way. I know you'll nail it. Just be yourself and enjoy the conversation. And you don't need luck. All right. Your money. You're so money. What movie is that from? It's probably the person that's going to answer is probably me, a guy, probably as old as me. You're so money. What movie is that from? Hint. It's one of Vince Vaughn's first movies. And you are money. All right. Gregory is saying Moto Blue Ocean. Okay, good. I asked you about this. It's how to be successful with your business in a field which is not your current field. Examples include Apple with iPhone. Oh, interesting. It's interesting. Thank you for that. Yeah, and we're doing a big case study actually on Apple. And we're going to build the Apple balance sheet on Tuesday, January 21st in the MBA degree program. Yeah. Thank you. And so I've looked at all the line items there, and it's interesting because the iPad revenue line item is almost as big as Mac now itself. But growth is slowing for iPhones big time. Okay. Next up is Mibian is saying, "Hi, Chris. How do you calculate non-GAAP net income?" Yeah. So you look at your income statement and you basically look at every item and say, is that really cash or not? And if for example, if it's if you've got an expense for sales and marketing, that's cash. So it's a legit expense. But if you look at something like depreciation, which I think I threw on the ground, like this research development, sideways, that's a real expense. If you look at this one, though, depreciation, see if it focuses on that, that is not a real expense. You deduct this from GAAP. And when you deduct this from GAAP and you get non-GAAP earnings, non-GAAP is also called pro forma. And it's the type of financial statement we love to look at because when we're valuing companies, we like to value it based on how much cash they're going to make in the future. So we look at non-GAAP, which is also called pro forma. Yeah. All right. And Rose is saying, I see a lot of people talking about getting their company started with no money. So I thought I'd share that if you're starting a company focused on a product but don't have the money, use print on demand. there's print on demand for a lot of things people don't even know about. I really like Amazon's Kindle Direct Publishing for books, merchandise by Amazon, and apparel, and Amazon Media on Demand for CDs, DVDs, and all free. Oh, I love that. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And everybody that's printed a book using my template on Amazon, if you look at the, like I just got this awesome one here from Yolanda, one of my awesome MBA students. But if you look in the back, always look on the back page. It'll tell you where the book was made and printed. So I ordered this a couple days ago, and it didn't exist. They made it in San Bernardino on the 13th of January. It says it right there, right? A lot of books, and that's kind of was it Edward Deming, the great economist, who kind of came up with just-in-time inventory management, and the Japanese, of course, perfected it back in the 80s. So yeah, that's great. That's great. If you don't mind, Rose, I love learning from my students. I learned so much from my students. If you can tell me, is there a service on Amazon for getting T-shirts printed on demand? I've had a bunch of students ask about merch when I wear logos, whatever, on stuff. Let me know if that exists. Yeah, like you wrote Amazon for apparel. Does that mean clothing that they'll print, make for you on demand? And Julian, if you're on the call, Julian's he lives in Germany. His son, he's one of my MBA students as well. His son is is 13 or 14, is making a hoodie company. And so I'm sure that apparel would come in handy with him as well. Let me know if that exists, please. And thanks for sharing. All right, cool. Oh, and Asamina wrote that's Budapest Hero Square. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Oh, that's right. That was the image I put up that you sent me before. Thank you. All right. Oh, there we go. Bahai said those characters, these three here, are from The Office. You're right. You're right. And that's Pam in the middle. Yeah. You're right. So what you can do is Bahai, email Wrigley, who is my COO, and ask him for a free course. Just pick a course from Udemy. He'll send you a free coupon. And so his email is rigley@harounventures.com. And good job on that. Yeah. All right. Next up is Ian saying, sorry, Chris. No, never say sorry, please. One more question. Ask as many as you want. One more question. When constructing a financial model, is it advisable to use the company's GAAP results or non-GAAP results in the income statement? I prefer to use non-GAAP, because the best way to model companies, in my humble opinion, is to focus mainly on the income statement. And if you use non-GAAP, it gets a lot easier for when you're forecasting future net income, which means cash flow. And I love to keep it simple when I value companies. I use lots of methodologies. My favorite one is simplistic, where I just focus on non-GAAP income statement, and I calculate net income for 10 years out. And then what I do is I discount those 10 years using non-GAAP, okay? Those 10 years net income to today, okay, using the cost capital. And then the 11th year, I calculate the terminal value, which will calculate between year 11 and infinity. Yeah, so I definitely prefer non-GAAP. And when I used to work in the hedge fund industry, at 1 o'clock my time, or 4 o'clock New York time, same thing, when the market would close and companies would release earnings, I would go right to the press release, the 8K, immediately, and go through as fast as I can for non-GAAP. Sometimes I go Control F or Command F and search for non-GAAP, GAAP. And I'd update my income statement immediately, faster than my competition if I could, so that we could transact after hours if need be. Yeah. All right. And Barney is saying, what's your thoughts on the 4-hour work week and Tim Ferriss? Yeah, I've read some of Tim Ferriss's stuff from a biohacking perspective. I like it. He actually influenced me a lot. I take a lot of herbs and vitamins. I've showed you guys in previous weeks what they are. So I'm definitely a big biohacker. Like this here on biohacking, because this is bulletproof coffee, which I really believe in. And if you guys are going to do it, you put something called MCT oil in it. Talk to a health nutritionist or a doctor first. Please don't sue me. But if you're going to do it, put in that MCT oil, which is like coconut oil. Just put a tiny bit in initially, because you will get stomach aches too. But it gives me insane energy. and cognitive abilities too. I humbly believe. I feel like Brad Cooper, minus the good looks, I feel like Brad Cooper on that movie Limitless, when he takes that drug which is wrong obviously, but he biohacked as well, so he could write 1 million bestsellers really quickly. Yeah, in that movie. All right, I've got this thing will make my coffee 145 degrees. It's pretty cool, but it doesn't work that well. I don't recommend buying it. Works sometimes. All right. And you're most welcome, Karen. And Karen, as you have questions about your business plan, let me know on this weekly call. Forever, for free, forever. I'm here to humbly help if I can. Yeah. All right. Yeah, and Akil got it too. You said Jim and Pam from The Office. Yeah. That's cool. You're right. Remember, it's Pam with an M. That's from that movie, Step Brothers, with Will Ferrell. Oh, cool. Oh, Wrigley, thanks for taking care of that. Okay, good. Yeah. So what I recommend doing, Nita, is don't Wrigley. You don't have to respond because you can actually get the networking book right here. So go here, and thanks Wrigley for doing that. Go here to Haroun Ventures, and then if you scroll down, you can get the book right here. Okay. All right. All right. And Avi Pro is saying, I have a friend in Iowa and South Dakota. How do those compare? I don't know much. I love Iowa though because of Field of Dreams. That's where heaven is apparently. I can't wait to watch the Yankees versus the White Sox. That they're going to play there next year, this summer actually. I don't know that. I'm so sorry. The only thing I know about South Dakota and North Dakota is I used to invest in Vestas, a great European windmill company for alternative energy, and there's a lot of wind there, and a lot of windmills too. All right, and Avi Pro saying who's in the process of quitting his job as a pilot and moving from Stockholm to America, is saying my aim is in the tech and IT area mainly. Yeah. Probably not as much IT talent there, but that doesn't matter because you can start a company anywhere if you want to. You really can. All you need is a browser, high-speed internet, and a lot of heart and willing to fail a bunch of times because you only have to be right in business one time. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And Andrew's saying Utah, Florida, and Texas to start a new business. Yeah, the tax codes in those 3 states are awesome. Awesome. And I want those 3 states to bring their tax code here to the left coast. All right. Good. Look at all that good luck. Mercy. Look at all that support you're getting. I hope you're still watching. Mercy, you are loved by everybody. Okay. We're all family. All family, and we're all hoping for you. Okay. You'll do great. You'll do great. Thanks, everybody. And then Akil's saying, sir, why don't you replace the link in the calendar instead of putting the link in the YouTube video? It's okay. I took care of it. Thanks, though, buddy. Appreciate that. And Barney is saying, what's the fastest free office software? I can't afford Excel at the moment. So I think the best one to use is probably Google, right? You can use Google Sheets. You can use Google Docs. It's free. If you want, you can download LibreOffice. That's free office in French. But I find it's not that robust. It kind of feels like Microsoft bloatware Office from 1998. So I would recommend Google Sheets, Google Slides, and Google Docs. Right? That's the free version of Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Yeah. All right. Printful. Thank you for that. Asmi is saying, by the way, I just finished completely one of the books I sent you to check out. It actually has a chill recipe in the last chapter. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll check out, I remember you sent it to me in LinkedIn where I got that Budapest. image from your, thank you. Okay. And Mubian, thank you for that comment. I appreciate that. God bless you. Jeff Bezos gave a great speech in India yesterday. I don't know if you guys saw it. In Akhil, Kunal, and Rohit, you guys should check it out. It's great. He's saying that this century is going to be India's century, largest democracy in the world. And he thinks the biggest most important partnership America will have as the oldest democracy is with the newest democracy. The largest democracy, I say. The U.S. is the oldest democracy, and the largest is India. He thinks that the two are going to be joined at the hip this century. And Jeff Bezos is betting big on India. Yeah, and he also had a really nice Gandhi quote, which I retweeted yesterday, I think, yeah. And Rose is saying, yes, Chris, with merchandise by Amazon, you can make T-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, etc. all pay on delivery. You must go to the Merchant by Amazon website and fill out the application to be accepted. That is their vetting. Huh. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm going to do that. Yeah, it's a great idea, especially for merch stuff. I want to sell everything at cost, so I don't want to make any money on merchandise. I'll sell it at cost. And you wrote, the more legitimate you or your company looks, the faster, more likely you are to be accepted. Well, I'm screwed then. Sorry. I have a pretty good website and everything, so I got accepted within 14 days. That's awesome. That's awesome. Hold that tiger is right, Akil. That is awesome. Yeah. It's from the movie Tucker. I love it. Yeah. I don't know if you guys saw my little Tucker card. Did you see it over here? And for those of you who haven't seen the movie, it's over here. Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen the movie Tucker, you got to check it out. It's my favorite business movie, and Jeff Bridges is just so inspirational in that role, and it's based on a true story. And Rose is saying, for some people who don't look legitimate, they get declined, or they have to wait like a year or so to get accepted. This is their vetting process. You must be accepted in order to use the merchandise platform. Thanks. I'll do that. I'm going to do it. And Rose, do me a favor. Can you bring this up in class when you see Julian on the call? Because his son is creating a hoodie business, and I think that will help him a lot. That's great, man. We're all learning a lot together here. Thank you. And the last question here, we've got, and type your questions if you guys have questions. And if you want, actually, I'm supposed to go to LinkedIn and check out somebody's business plan, which I'll do here. And if you guys want, you can also get on Zoom. And I'll provide you with a Zoom link in a minute. Let me just read Karen's questions here. Karen is saying, my business plan is in my mind. I know what I want to achieve, and I'm on the path. Bricks, walls are common, but I'm doing my best to smash them down. I think it takes a very strong belief and integrity. I'm not from India, but I've heard that the biggest YouTube channel is Indian. Well done, India. Very cool. Very cool. Make sure you go to YouTube and watch that speech that Bezos gave yesterday in India. It's pretty empowering. It's cool. All right. Now, as promised, the very first question we got, somebody that posted this 6 hours before the call started, named Octavian, has a business plan he wants me to look at live in front of everybody, which I'm happy to do. Let's go here, and I will search, thank you, Asmina, for that person's name. Here it is. All right. Persistent. I like it. All right. So I'm going to download this, and I'll go through this from scratch. And I'm going to try to give advice in such a way that's generic enough to hopefully be value added to everybody as well. Let me go back here and make sure that I'm on the screen. We're good to go. Okay, great. All right. So AI plus automation plus human touch equals smarter property search. Okay, I get it. So without reading the next page, I probably think it's a way to find real estate online, not completely automated, because some of it is human touch, which means the margins might not be amazing, but that's okay. Let's go here. All right. Renting is the housing choice for millions. Okay. 7.2 million private tenants in the United Kingdom by 2025 will rent, and they'll spend $54 billion. And here's the source. Okay. Okay, so this is kind of like your total addressable market. I get it. But the rental, okay, good. Now you're listing the problem, and then you're going to list the solution. I got it. Okay. But the rental home search experience is broken. Research areas matching lifestyle requirements, hours wasted. Okay, yeah, it's inefficient. I got it. Okay. And then you wrote here, we're still stuck in the previous century. This is how much time is spent on housing searches. And you've got these sources here. That's great. It's fragmented. It's misaligned. I like the power of three. How you use three. Yeah, I got it. The solution is this. Okay. You identify the problem. I got a solution. And you identify the TAM. I wish you had mentioned your management team earlier on. I'll get to that in a second. Okay. Because a lot of sophisticated investors, they know that ideas are commodities, but execution is not. Okay. So the most important thing is the team. So I would put the team in the first couple of slides if you can. Also, it's a little bit, I understand the concept, what you're doing, but I think it would be very helpful to show an image of the product early on, maybe on the first slide or second slide, because it's easier to visualize and understand it. Even if you don't have the product yet, you can basically get an MVP or minimum viable product. You can get somebody to create wireframe drawings on Fiverr or other places like Upwork. All right, so you wrote here, the solution is the first artificial intelligence-driven product exclusively focused on tenants' interests, provides an end-to-end platform from property search to move in. Okay. And then you wrote here, Avesa, and I like, this is cool. I like your logo, by the way. It's neat. Avesa is rebuilding property search for tenants. Okay, so local, domestic, international. Okay, so this here, customer, your product, what they get in the other. Okay, so it's like it's B to C. Okay, this is B, that's C, and you're in the middle. You're the platform. Okay, single point of contact, AI driven. We manage the complexity of dealing with everything related to properties, meaning real estate agents, landlords, utilities, cleaning services, and maybe you buy it all in bulk and you could make a margin on that. I'm not sure. Okay. AI driven Sherpa is a virtual assistant for each tenant. I don't know what Sherpa means. Is that the name of the person that's an AI based voice, or I might be ignorant. I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. Okay. And you capitalize Sherpa for a reason. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. So I would probably clarify what that is. The goal is home search and finalize. Okay. Help you find a house in less than 10 hours. Gotcha. And instead of 50 hours, I got you. You're saving 40 hours of time. Okay. So it's a okay, I gotcha. One-stop shop. High number of users, including paid users. I'd have probably a little fewer bullet points here. Public beta was launched in July of 2017. Okay. So you've got 28,000 active users and 300 are paying. So I'd probably break that down a little bit more. And I probably have maybe just a very simple income statement, which is revenue each year for 5 years or 10 years, whatever, and EBITDA. 100 users in the 100 users in the paid model. Okay, it's kind of confusing because you wrote 300 users of the premium service, and premium means kind of paid unless you gave it away for free for 200 people, and 100 are paying. High referral rates. Okay, you got to write down what the average selling price is too. How much do you think they're going to pay? Yeah, and I'm having, I understand what you're doing. You're like a one-stop shop platform for everything real estate, but it's tough for me to really visualize it. I would, if you can, I humbly recommend putting the product in right away at the beginning, even if it's just kind of vaporware or whatever, like an MVP or minimum viable product. Strong testimonial paying users, 80% net promoter score. I don't know what that means. And then 100% said they like it. Okay. And they save 50 hours. Okay, they save 50 hours. Okay, but I thought they saved 40 hours if they spent 10 hours doing it. But okay. Our business model is this. I think there's too many slides. I think you got to just simplify it a lot. Freemium referral data. Okay. Does that refer to that? Freemium referral data there? Concierge Sherpa. Okay. Sherpa is the name of the concierge. Okay, that confused me. And if anybody's confused when they look at these things, you might lose interest pretty quickly, just because investors are given a gazillion pitch decks. Okay, so it's a Sherpa paid by tenants. I got it. Referral fee. Okay. And then in the future, upsell other stuff. I got it. Competitive landscape. Let me make this bigger. Okay. So the competition includes, and these are tech savvy, non-tech savvy. And this is just different, okay, sectors within real estate. I got it. And you're up here. Okay, that's where you guys are. Okay. It's like a Gartner Magic Quadrant. Okay. Okay. And you wrote, our competitive differentiation is we have a scalable business model focused on tenants, AI driven. And then it just for barriers to entry, I don't know if you want to, you can say that you have patents on the whole process if you want, or I don't know. But I've talked to an intellectual property attorney if you want to. Here's where it is, the team. Yeah, I put this up earlier, much earlier. Okay, so my Inc. is a second tech startup, previously in FinTech, 9 years in technology, investment banking, Morgan Stanley and Citi. Okay. This is what they're going to do, by the way. They're going to go here to LinkedIn. Hopefully it's going to work. Come on, LinkedIn. There we go. Oops. It was there. You saw it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go here. I'm assuming this is the guy. I'll know because it'll say Morgan Stanley somewhere. It's not. Maybe you want to put the LinkedIn profile as well, which you can customize with linkedin.com/in and then the name here. You can customize this to make it shorter. This might not be the right person though. So hold on, let me look. I'm looking for, and this is what they're going to do. They're going to do due diligence on you. Okay, somebody that worked in Morgan Stanley. Let's do a search again. And what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go, I don't know why it's slow, guys. Sorry. LinkedIn's usually better than this. Maybe I'll open up Safari. All right, hold on. All right, and let me just do change this to previous company, Morgan Stanley. Okay. All right, and then I'll do this. Why is that not working, Chris? And I got to find somebody from Morgan Stanley. Hold on 1 second. I want to make sure I have the right person. Maybe he doesn't have a LinkedIn profile at all. But that's what I'd be doing. I'd be looking to see who this person is connected to, who I can talk to. Oh, here it is here. Okay, I got it here. Yeah, good. My bad, sorry. Or my B, as my kids would say. All right, so Manker. Okay, he's the co-founder. Okay, let's look through his profile. Okay. All right, good. And what I was looking for, by the way, is this is probably what I'd say here. I'd look at the management team and make sure they're all in, that they're actually doing this full time. I might ask, why does he have Hashcove listed here to present? Does that mean he's working part-time on this or full-time? Okay. Okay. There's you. Yeah, I'd probably give Mark a call and ask if I were going to invest in the company. I don't invest in any startups or my students. I'd probably call Mark and just ask him his thoughts on the management team. And there's a couple other people here I can call as well. Yeah, just to do a little bit more due diligence. And this is you. Let's check out you. Thank you for sharing this. Okay. You're full-time. You're all in. Very cool. Yeah. I'd probably call Flavian too. Okay. All right. Cool. Let me go back here now. Okay, let me go to your CTO. This one's important for me. Impressive management team, dude. Why did that happen? That's your CTO, right? All right, he's the CTO, so I thought he was your CTO. I probably ask in the meeting, on your slides, it says that your CTO is Rajneesh, but when I go here to LinkedIn, I don't see him as the CTO here. I see him as an IT solutions executive. I don't see your company listed anywhere. I probably ask a lot about that. I'd say in technology, it's really important because, you got, I know that your other co-founder has experience as a banker. So yeah, he gets finance and maybe some management stuff, which is great. He's been in startups. But what really would impress me is if you have somebody with an incredible background in technology, like this guy, for example. But I'd like to see the fact that he's full-time here. Like it's showing here that he's not. So that's something I'd probably ask about. And this is the importance of management team, why you got to list it early on. So I would ask you, you don't have to answer it, but why does your CTO, which is core to your business model, it's a tech company, partially, why is your CTO not listed as your CTO on LinkedIn? Okay. And these here are this is an advisor. Okay. Good. Yeah, because it looked like maybe you guys didn't have enough tech experience. I don't know, but the fact you have somebody here with comp sci experience, et cetera, and somebody with AI background, PhD, that's helpful. It assuages some issues I might have with the quality of the management team. Not saying there is an issue at all, but you know what I mean, in general. Okay. And I probably ask you in the meeting just to see what you'd say. That's all. Why aren't these guys joining you full time? Okay. All right. Next up is this, but that I would really focus on this though. Like this is CTO is core, right? So anyway, and I'm just telling you what people are going to think, and they're going to go to your LinkedIn profiles no matter what. Which is why I think everyone needs a kick-ass LinkedIn profile, which I teach about a lot. All right. All right. You're looking for up to £2 million. The use of proceeds for the next 1 to 1.5 years is just go to market at scale, product enhancements. So it's still a bit elusive. Like I would still like product enhancements to what? Like I would, you got to show the product or if you can. Even if it's just mock-ups. Okay, the opportunity. Consumers are willing to back strong property brands like Airbnb. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Contacts on the last page usually. Let's see. Yeah, usually what I do is I recommend, maybe you have it on the last page. I'll get there in a second. It's way too long. I would make it 10 slides max. And if you want, you can take my complete business plan course because I'll give you 25 templates that are 10 slides each for making pitch decks as well. It'll also help you with your financials as well. Okay, a little typo here, not a big deal, but whatever. All right. Whoops. So I probably go to your website next. Cool. And don't mind my yeah, this might maybe it might be easier to read, dude. This or maybe in a darker font. And what you can even do is the background here. Like I like what you're doing, but maybe make it a little bit less transparent. Meaning the opacity, crank it up a bit, and maybe make this black. And it's always hard to read white on a light color. It's my humble opinion, whatever. And maybe throw this at the top if you wanted to, just from a mobile website perspective. I'd check it out on mobile, obviously, as well. Personalize your search. Okay, customer testimonials. Oh, you have an app. Okay, you got to show pictures of this stuff, dude. Yeah. Okay, this stuff is good. Like you put this on your page 2, dude, of your business plan. Okay, so I'll see. I'm like, oh, I get it. Okay, all right. It's kind of like, all right. It's Zillow, but for everything, not just Zillow for finding a house. It's Zillow plus a gazillion other great startup business model ideas. Yeah, dude, I would list. This is impressive. This is the eye candy stuff I like. Okay, this gets me more excited. I would put this on the second slide. Okay. Yeah. 4 ratings. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Yeah, definitely. Put that on the main slide, please. And then you're in the Google App Store as well. All right, 83 people use it. Let's see if there's any reviews. So I know you're not going to want to hear this, but I would probably look at this and then say to myself, I want to make sure that CTO is all in. You know, he doesn't even have it listed here that he's the CTO of your company. And then when I come here, and I'm just trying to, please don't take offense to this. I'm trying to say things that people will be thinking but won't say to you. The CTO doesn't look like he works at the firm full time, or maybe he hasn't updated his LinkedIn profile. That's fine. And then here you've got negative review about the user interface. What a jerk. I'd find a way to contact that person. Like seriously, find a way to contact that person and ask them for more feedback. And then hopefully I've called people that have left me awful feedback. I've contacted them over LinkedIn. And yeah. Sometimes people have I'm not going to go there, but you know what I'm getting at. So anyway, that's my humble feedback on all this stuff. Appendix. Okay. Dude, I would lead with this stuff. Like, this is impressive stuff. I put this on the second slide, maybe have an image of 3 of those 4 iPhone images. Don't use the Android one because, well, they're going to find the negative feedback anyway. Do the 3 iPhone images and then this, okay, or something like that. This is impressive. And put your management team earlier on. And what I would do is next step, I would try to figure out why the CTO doesn't have the LinkedIn updated. And then I would try to deal with that negative review you had. That person that was way too harsh. I wasn't nice to that person, but it is what it is. Haters are going to hate. So anyway, I hope that's somewhat helpful. Please don't take offense to my critiques. I say it with love in my heart, only because a lot of potential investors are going to look at that. And they'll think that, but they might not say that when they're doing due diligence on you. Yeah. So anyway, those are my humble thoughts. All right. And let's see if you had any comments there. Oh, that's my alarm. Okay. I got to wrap up the call, guys, in a minute because I've got the for MBA students only office hours. And then if Octavian, if you saw my feedback there, take it with a grain of salt. It's just one man's opinion, and I say it with love in my heart because I want to provide you with feedback on what people might say, and it's easily fixable. You just tell your CTO to add it to his LinkedIn profile. He probably hasn't updated in a while. That's fine. But I promise you, people are going to go to LinkedIn to check all you guys out. It's impressive, though. Also, from a visualization perspective, make sure to put the product images maybe on the second slide if you can. It just helps you really understand it crystal clear by looking at images. Pictures worth 1,000 words. Also, list your management team much, much earlier. And then lastly, make it shorter. And make your very last slide contact details, because a lot of older people, it is what it is. They're used to looking at a pitch deck and they're like, how do I contact these people? They look at the last page. Again, make it 10 slides or less. And again, you can take my complete business plan course, which should help out a lot with that. Thank you. All right. I've got to jet in a second, guys, for the MBA only student office hours. And then we got the one-on-ones for my MBA students that have booked. All right. So I'm going to fly through these really quickly, guys. And if it's somebody in the MBA degree program, I might skip your question. You can ask it again, please. Yeah. So let me go through who's not an MBA student. And for those of you who are MBA students, just paste it again, please. So Avi Pro is saying, Amazon killed me because I'm in Sweden. That is why I went elsewhere just to get it working. Don't get stuck on Amazon. Get your own brand. Yeah, I found that Amazon doesn't, like, the problem with Amazon is they don't market your stuff. Like, Amazon contacted me years ago and they said, we're going to launch online education and we're going to press release your company and you as a brand. And I was like, oh my God, I just got made. And then I did it, and they don't market your stuff. The best company to go with is, like every sector is usually one company that dominates the best platform, which is Udemy. Udemy is Google and everyone else is Bing. So I discovered that just because you're selling stuff on Amazon, it doesn't mean anything, for me at least, not for anybody else. But I understand what you're saying, Avi Pro. And Rose, thank you so much for that tip on the apparel stuff. I think you're right. I'm going to check it out. Thank you. Okay. Karen is saying, thank you for your generous offer of a course, Chris, and this webcast. Great to meet everyone. I'm going to take a break as it's dinner on this side of the Atlantic, 6:45 GMT. I'll be back. Thanks. Avi Pro is saying, I've had a business since the beginning of the 90s, and for them to decline my legitimate business puts me off. One strike and you're out. Yeah, and I hear you, dude. Amazon's tough to, yeah. You wrote too old to, yeah, I'm with you. And Avi Pro, if you haven't seen the movie Vacation, the new one, you got to watch it. There's a hysterical scene with Clark Griswold. Actually, it's Rusty Griswold in the opening scene flying an airplane. And the name is Atacano Air. And he goes, okay, please buckle your seatbelts. Beautiful day today. At Atacano Air, we're working hard on regaining your trust. It's funny. You got to see it. It's probably the funniest airplane scene I've seen in a movie since the movie Airplane. Airplane 1 and 2. Yeah, so check it out, Vacation. I think you'll laugh. It's funny. And there's a little kid in that. The little brother bullies the older brother, and he's hysterical. Rude, but hysterical. I laughed so hard. And Vipul is saying, what should I study before investing in stock market as a beginner? Any suggestions on buying or selling stocks? Yeah. So I recommend taking my complete financial analyst course. It's available on Udemy. You get a 30-day money-back guarantee. You can finish the whole course, then get your money back too if you want even. Yeah. So check that out. I teach based on real experience and not based on theory. Yeah. And I use props too. Like Ira Stark. Yeah. She's my pal. Whoops. There we go. She's a prop in one of my courses. Okay. Oh, good. Mercy's saying the meeting just ended and I would say it was successful. Woo! Mazel tov. Excellent. Mainly because he was extremely down to earth and forthcoming. Good. And you wrote, I used all the elements you coached me on, and I'm so grateful to you. Thank you. And they said there's no open position. That's okay. That's okay, because you can keep in contact with this person and every maybe 6 months meet with them again. And then ask again, are there openings? Are there openings? Are there openings? You got to ask. You got to be relentless. And then you said, I told him I'm willing to enter CGI, which is a great Canadian IT services company, even in the pro coordinator role. He said that is a good idea, and he asked me for my resume, and I immediately texted him an email ad. Did you bring the resume to the okay? But I showed him my resume as you told me. Good. He gave me editing input. Good. To make the resume CGI friendly. Excellent. Chris, it seemed as if you orchestrated the meeting. I did. He's a good friend of mine. I'm just kidding. I don't know who it was. And you wrote, because it went as you predicted. He also said, I'm doing the right thing by networking. He said it's key as you keep emphasizing everything you teach in the MBA program. What I could use, I did my best. He was here for an hour. That's long. It's good. Even though he initially planned to be here for 30 minutes. That's awesome. That means he likes you. And when an opening comes up, oh, this is awesome. You wrote, I will call in the MBA forum to say more. Excellent. Excellent. And we'll bring you on Zoom as well if you want to. Congratulations. That sounds amazing. 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 Good. And so keep in contact with this person, because his network just became your network. And make sure that you connect with him, obviously, on LinkedIn. Again, his network is now your network, and your net worth is your network. Good for you. I'm happy to hear it went well. It's awesome. And we'll talk in the MBA class, too, to get more detail. Thank you. All right. See, next up is Bahai. Is saying, good night, Chris, and everyone else. It's like 12:30 a.m. here. Bye. Thanks. I was in Haifa last summer before, and there's the Baha'i gardens are beautiful there. Okay, great. Gregory saying, have a great day, everybody. And then Avi Pro is saying, I will check it out. Okay, great. So the webcast is done. Before the end of day today, one of my employees, I have him actually put in all the questions in the description field. That's my next webcast with my MBA students. He puts all the questions in the description field of this video, and then times as well. So you can click on them, boom, and jump immediately to that point. So thank you very much. For those of you that subscribe to my vlog, I'll see you tomorrow. And if you don't, God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Thursday at 8 a.m. Thank you. And for my MBA students, I'm going to start it in about 5 minutes, our webcast. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.